Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Blue Thunder Pod. I'm your host, Billy Sullivan, and with me, as always, the lovely and talented Dave Olinovich. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Billy. It's nice to hear it twice in one day.
And we are here. You're giving away actually, I guess I gave it away on the other podcast too. You're giving away the magic. We're recording 2 episodes back to back here. Both will be dropping. So if you're listening to this first, when you're done here, go check out our special pay-per-view bonus episode that will all be dropping at the same time. So that'll be up as well simultaneously. Go check that out when you're done with us here.
That's
listening
right.
to us talk about a very eventful week of North American televised pro wrestling.
That read like a TV guide description.
Yeah, I think
very good.
Getting better at this.
Your
go.
vocabulary is just sharp. I just like that I get to hear I'm lovely and talented twice in one day. That's all.
I talk good and I compliment good.
Yeah. Teacher learned me good.
So we're going to kick things off today on the WWE side of things because you need to eat your vegetables before dessert. And actually, I keyed.
You're correct.
Well, I'll be fair. And I don't love WWE, but SmackDown was fun. It was a fun show. One great thing, but we'll start with that. And top to bottom, I enjoyed SmackDown this week. They did an awesome thing to start the show. I'm just giving you my general feelings.
Oh, you're fine. TV guide, Sully.
They did one great thing to start the show, and then that was half the show.
Yeah.
So half my show, cool. I'm halfway through. After it was done, and then they did a bunch of little stuff that was pretty cool, and then they all were in little bursts, and then the show was over.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like when I'm watching Raw and I feel like I'm stuck in the Phantom Zone and time doesn't exist anymore. And this was it's over. Cool. Yeah. I could actually watch some more of this, and it was over. So, positive on the SmackDown end. My little baby review before we talk about it.
Yeah.
So, Dave, you want to talk about what kicked this episode of SmackDown?
Before SmackDown, so Friday, earlier in the day before SmackDown, The Rock took to Twitter, and he cut.
He certainly did.
He cut a 21-minute and 25-second promo. We find out later. I believe Cody said it on Raw that he initially posted a 16-minute promo and then erased it and then gave us the director's cut, which made me laugh. That was a funny line. But The Rock, they are trying their hardest to make this story arc of The Rock coming in make sense.
Yeah.
And they're doing better than I thought they were going to.
I think it's great, but like we talked about before, I just have to pretend. I have to really, as a WWE fan, you have to kind of shut your brain off for a bunch of stuff. But this, I just have to block from my memory the way this started.
Yes.
Because it was great. It's a great pivot. There's just no way really for it to make sense. So I just pretend it didn't happen, and it's been great since then. Which
then definitely don't watch the Twitter promo because The Rock makes you go back.
Oh, that's a mistake. So I saw that he did it, but I didn't actually, full disclosure, I didn't watch the promo.
Yeah.
I watched the beginning and the end, which was fantastic when Dave got here to record today. I thought I understood the gist. But if he did a callback to the start of this, that's a mistake.
He not only did a callback, he did the intro of Lord of the Rings where we understood how the ring was made.
Oh, man.
It was back to January 1st, and he tells the whole story. The Rock shows up on January 1st, and he says the whole, where should The Rock sit? At a booth, and he's like, and the people didn't know what was going on. It's like, bitch, we all knew what you were doing. Why should he sit at a bar? Well, the people pop because they like drinking, and he's like, and people started kind of wising up. You're not as clever as you think.
He's a heel. He thinks we're all stupid.
But at the time, he was not. He's also a rich, out of touch guy. But I think that's more to. Or should The Rock sit at the head of the table? And then he said the head of the table phrase was created solely for an eventual match between The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
Well, that's nonsense.
Again, this is all. Prior to that, he's saying it's been a busy week for pro wrestling. Wrestling is cool again after decades because of The Rock.
I like that. He reiterated that. I like going.
If you're
going to
be a heel, be a goddamn heel.
And I like leaning into
totally.
Wrestling is getting cool again.
Yeah.
It's like we were just talking about it. Like it's the greatest time ever, maybe to at least since the late '90s, to be a wrestling fan. Just in general,
quality wise, it's untouchable.
Awesome.
Right now.
So and there's stuff that you can show other people that are not wrestling fans that are amazed by. Maybe not on this product, but wrestling in general.
Yeah.
And then like his thing is great, but him claiming that he who just came back like a couple of months ago is the reason wrestling is cool again.
Yeah.
When they've been both AEW WWE been like building towards where we're at right now for like a year or whatever.
I mean, look at Roman Reigns is the reason wrestling is cool.
Yeah,
like he has been the chief, and then right on his tail. You have Cody who pumped fucking gasoline all over it and made it even
Cody,
better.
Was able to reinvigorate a character like the white meat babyface character in a way that I didn't think was still possible.
In an organic way without shoving it down our throats like Hulk Hogan had to and John Cena had to. But The Rock is just saying everybody who doesn't like that he's back, if they're a Cody crybaby. And he called Cody crybabies grown-ass men who think they know it all when they don't know shit. Rock was using some colorful language on the Twitter platform.
I mentioned to you when you had me fire through this the internet promo. I'm pretty sure Rock just wanted to be able to swear, and he knew he couldn't do that on SmackDown. Yeah. So all right, I'm gonna get this shit out. Rock getting his shit in here.
Yeah,
literally getting his shit in.
I don't know if this is accurate, but I did hear I heard it more than once that the reason he took to Twitter is because he saw the show format for the day and he wanted to talk for a long time, didn't get.
There were reports saying that he asked for more time.
Yeah, and so he went on Twitter and cut this 20-minute promo. But so he said the head of the table was eventually supposed to be for a match between him and Roman. That's Roman's story. He's like, no, that's The Rock's story. That's Reigns' story. And he said Cody's story was last year, but he shit the bed.
Which, I mean, how do you not account, the Roman wins every goddamn match the same way.
Right.
So account for that.
Yeah. He ran back I just talked about it, Where Should the Rock Sit? That was on New Year's Day, on the day 1/1/2024. And he's like, and the crowd went nuts. Cody wins the Rumble, and after Cody wins the Rumble, he said The Rock had a conversation with him. Rock said to Cody that he knew the biggest match of all time was looming between Rock and Roman, and Cody could finish his story another time. Cody agreed. This is all narrative that he's trying to say, right?
You pretend that doesn't happen.
Then he says, Cody says, Rock, it stings, but I want what's best for the business. So he's like, Birmingham, Alabama, the Rock and Cody agreed that Cody would bring The Rock out, and when he came out, Rock whispered in Cody's ear, let's put on the biggest WrestleMania of all time. Let's do it for the American Dream. Let's do it for the Soul Man. And then Cody left the ring, turned back to look at The Rock, and he didn't give him hey, go get him, but he looked at The Rock I'm
about to cry.
Sad, yeah. and The Rock said, he didn't give me the go get him look, but a look like The Rock went out and ran over your goofy ass dog. Rock was very
His
funny.
dog is beautiful.
It's a beautiful dog, yeah. Phoenix Pharaoh?
Yeah. Pharaoh.
And then he said, sometime between that moment and Las Vegas, you changed your mind. And The Rock was fine with him changing.
He really dug in that hard on this.
That's why I need to cover it beat by beat. So, because then we don't have to really go into what he said on SmackDown, because it was kind of like the.
But he didn't touch any of this. I thought SmackDown was almost perfect.
Yeah,
his thing.
Maybe this was the dry run, right? He said The Rock was fine with him changing his mind because he had a right to, because he won the Royal Rumble, but he wasn't okay with how he did it. And the way The Rock says how he did it, he said he didn't pull The Rock aside privately before the show to discuss, and then they show The Rock and Cody talking prior to the press conference. You should have did it then. He's like, no, you waited until Roman announced that he's facing the.
Fucking Fellini direct this promo? Jesus Christ.
There were timeline shots that were which is why it was a 21-minute promo, but it went by really fast.
To quote my boy Swerve, do less, my man. Do less.
So he certainly did not. But he said Cody waited until Roman announced he was facing The Rock. The Rock came out, and then they showed the family tree. They did their blood oath. They did their their predator handshake.
Did he bring out the family tree from the press conference?
The big one,
the giant one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Did you ever notice in the middle of that, the thing that connects Rock's side of the family to Roman's side of the family is a blood oath, not actual blood. Very top of the family tree, the middle is like a blood oath that they're long distant cousins made to each other in like 1940 or something.
Is that like in Stand By Me where they rub like bloody hands together, or was it
I had
My Girl or something?
Probably, yeah. They probably slaughter a wild pig or something because it's Samoa.
Oh, so that makes them family. He said Cody interrupted and said it was bullshit. Cody said it was bullshit.
He did.
I
saw it happen.
He said The Rock's at his tipping point is when Cody called the family lackeys, yes men, and goons, and looked at Roman and Rock and said that their grandfathers would be ashamed.
I mean,
and then The Rock slapped him.
He softly slapped him.
But that is the moment that The Rock keeps bringing up, that he said, Cody, you disrespected my family. Just by saying they were lackeys, yes men, and goons, and their grandfathers would be ashamed.
Yeah, the grandfathers being ashamed is not really disrespecting your family
None
as much
of
as
that.
you directly.
Yeah. Also, too, lackeys, goons, and
they are.
yes
It's a
men,
bunch of solo Sokoas.
by almost definition. Like
Yeah.
they are henchmen. They are foot soldiers, right?
Dave, I'm kind of feeling like maybe Rock would have been better off not
Saying
doing this
nothing.
this part of the promo.
That's
Just
why
keeping it to the TV one, because that one went swimmingly.
But you have to mention. I wouldn't even bring it up. But
I'm glad you brought it up because
but it comes
context
up on,
is necessary. I'm actually going to go back and watch this now, which I wasn't going to before because I need this context.
It comes up on Raw. It's referenced by Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw. That's the only reason I even bothered to look at it. So, and again, I'm not like...
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I'm not a big, like... And I've said this so many times before about, like, especially the Young Bucks and being the elite on their YouTube channel and furthering storylines online when they don't reference it on TV. This time they did. Yeah. So, like, I felt like the need to...
But they probably shouldn't have because it was a big mistake to try to bring back the Cody stuff.
Dude, once we get to the SmackDown portion, you're going to see that was like the condensed, like edited version. Like they gave it to a writer and they're like red pen all over it. Like let's just do
he needed some
somebody read this.
Like,
totally put a teleprompter up. But and then he said after he slapped Cody, Cody's new best friend. The Walking Clown Show stepped up. Rock says to Seth, he should mind your own business, stay out of it, but Seth couldn't help talking shit. Again, when Rock says the swears,
he's swearing.
And then he cuts to Seth doing media clips, and Seth is doing interviews because they had a bunch of press to do during the Elimination Chamber. And Seth is saying in interviews, The Rock hasn't come up with anything new to say in 20 years. Seth said... He and everyone that have been there for the last decade are the reason that the company is in the shape that it's in. They were there doing the hard work.
Which is a reasonable babyface thing to say.
And The Rock can come in and take his piece and go back to Hollywood because we don't need you, big guy. So then back to The Rock.
I get a little cringy when Seth does you're not cool anymore. And then like, just you're not cool anymore, and then The Rock comes out to like the most thunderous ovation I've ever heard every single time. Like, people laughing their ass off at everything he says.
He's like how we were just talking ad nauseum, or if you haven't listened to it yet, we will be talking ad nauseum about how special Will Ospreay is. Like he's just doing what other people are doing, but like in such a great way. The Rock is just being The Rock.
He's just doing The Rock.
And people have tried to talk shit like him, and he says funny shit.
But like Seth, you're halfway there, dude. Just do we built this.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be banter. Everything doesn't have to be banter.
No.
That was like one of the things that WWE ran into a long time ago, like right on the heels of the Attitude Era. And ever since they have this idea that there needs to be like witty banter back and forth. Seth is better served just being like, no, we built this shit.
Yeah.
We built it. Be serious about it. If you start trying to do the you're not as cool as you think you are thing, you look like an asshole because he's very clearly very cool.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks he's cool.
Also,
if everyone on earth agrees the guy's cool, he's cool.
Dude, I mean,
stop.
In this room, one of the first or second podcasts, we were just talking about how much we hated this idea with The Rock.
Yeah.
I could not be more on board with The Rock.
Because he's awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
he's fun.
So stop acting like you're not going to win a battle of wits.
No.
Just be the
Not
good
even
guy.
a little
Just be
bit.
the good guy. It's fine.
Yeah.
Rock's a dick. also, like, people don't expect you to be that witty or great. They know you're the good guy.
Yeah.
The dick is going to be able to get over on you in, like, those back and forths.
Right.
So you just stick to your guns, be the good guy. But Seth just, everything he does, he either goes a little too far or a little too short. He just can't hit that sweet spot, man.
Remember when he was like, it was like the Intercontinental Championship 4-way at WrestleMania. It was like him and Balor.
Yeah.
And when he was doing like his Kingslayer or Beast Slayer stuff, I think that's when he was the strongest he's ever been, because it was like a subtle.
It was full heel, right?
No, he had tweener heat at that point, because like he was undeniably good and just having great matches.
But he was working fully heel. Like,
yes, yeah.
I think
for a portion.
I don't
of
think
that.
he should ever be a babyface.
No, he's not likable.
He's so he's super unlikable.
No.
He's got a great slimy ass look. Like.
He's also like, he's got the girl, and she's a pretty girl.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
there's
Like, big popular. He's like the chosen one.
Yeah.
I feel like legit chosen one of the company.
Yeah.
Like, be that. But if you're gonna be babyface, just be you don't have to be cool.
No,
just be a good guy.
Work.
People want to. Cody's not cool. I love him.
Yeah,
he's corny as fuck.
yes,
Take a note.
Absolutely.
Like, you're not gonna win a battle of wits with the guy.
no, not with
Rock.
the Rock. No, Punk could maybe.
Okay, yeah. So
No,
like
but-
the other greatest.
But that's my
like,
point. Like, you have to like bring out all of your like god tier
Yeah.
like talkers to toe to this
yeah,
guy.
Kevin Owens would hold his own,
Yeah,
but I don't think he'd win because
No,
it's the
but-
goddamn Rock.
but then again, everyone we're not going to name like Austin Theory.
Yeah.
You know, he's not even fucking coming to mind.
What point is, Seth? Stick to it.
Shut the fuck up,
Understand your
Seth.
limitations and stick
Shut
to it
up.
because you look like an asshole when you try to.
So The Rock barks back at Seth Rollins and said, Seth, you need The Rock in ways you can't even imagine. You think when Ari Emanuel goes to sit with Netflix, they're asking when WWE signs their $5 billion deal, is Seth Rollins going to be champion?
They're asking, can we have our money back?
They go, no, because they don't care and they don't know who the hell he is, right? What they are saying is, where's The Rock, the man with the most watched movie in the history of Netflix? And you bet your ass I fact-checked that. It is 100% accurate.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean,
movie-
most of Rock's movies are very Netflixy.
The movie Red Notice in 2021,
Oh, Jesus, that was terrible.
starring The Rock, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot, has 230,900,000 views
I
as
believe
of.
at one point, The Rock and Ryan Reynolds were the number 1 and 2 like box office.
Like draws or
Yeah.
paid actors, yep. Just to show you the drop off, the second place most watched Netflix movie of all time. So this was 230,900,000. The second one is 171,400, and that is Don't Look Up from 2021 as well, starring Meryl Streep, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Jonah Hill, and it's an Adam McKay movie.
It was also not great.
It was
Better than
that was
Red
when
Notice.
I mean that was like, that was
It
full
was the
lock.
least of Adam McKay's films.
Yeah, full lockdown mode too. You got to take
Yeah.
that into consideration.
Yeah.
It's like when The Dark Knight Rises was like, oh, it's like the highest grossing movie, or like it's up there. It's like, yeah, because there was a snowstorm for weeks when that movie was out and no one had anything to do. But I digress. So he says,
Netflix Jones.
Seth, do you see why you need The Rock? He's like, find some new material. How about this? The Rock sits at the top. Director, TKO board. Not WWE, but TKO, which means The Rock is the boss, which means The Rock is your boss, which means, Seth, if you keep running your mouth and sticking your nose in the Bloodlines business,
Jesus,
then,
yes,
that
and Rock.
then that world title that you have around your waist, very soon, The Rock will make sure it goes to somebody else.
Is this all one take?
Yes.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
Rocky.
it was awesome. Said, Cody, for you and the Cody Crybabies and Seth and your goofy ass dog, who took away the biggest match in WrestleMania history, you're gonna pay.
He's just talking the dog. He's
brought
working
up
me
the-
so hard. Now I'm
yeah.
pissed at the Rock.
And then the line I made you watch right at the end, you said, Cody Rhodes, from the bottom of my heart, man to man, fuck your story.
It was great. Like, that could have come off real sweaty and forced and weird. It wasn't. He delivered it perfectly. That part I watched, it was amazing.
I don't think you watched the part right after he goes, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, fuck your story.
I did.
says it again
I did hear
at the
the little, the little Christian Cage. Fuck your story.
Who's a bigger heel in the company, Rock or Drew McIntyre? It's one.
Drew McIntyre's a babyface, as far as I'm concerned. He doesn't say anything that's not true.
So it's The Rock.
Yes, Drew McIntyre's a babyface, and I want The Rock and Drew McIntyre to have a program after WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's funny. So that was the Twitter promo. That lasted, what did I say, 21 minutes and 25 seconds. And then SmackDown. Woo! We'll try to get through this quickly. The Bloodline opened the show. This was a 27-minute segment. There was...
The segment itself, I thought it was further into SmackDown than that when it ended.
From the moment
it's like 41,
Roman's music hit, I didn't count commercials, but like I watched it on.
I was looking at the bar at the bottom of the screen or whatever.
I watched it on Hulu, so I don't know if that accounted for
I think
commercials
it was
or whatever.
almost half of the show. Okay, it was like 40-something minutes.
Well, like filmed time.
I was very happy with, by the way. It's WWE. I don't need to see those matches.
Isn't that great when you see that giant bar? You're like, woo! I don't gotta watch all this. So it was 12 minutes and 56 seconds from the Bloodline music hitting until The Rock
Which still
started
rules, by the
talking.
Way. Roman coming down to that music with his goons, still bad.
Like you said, WWE loves its entrances, and like that's got to be top 10 ever.
Oh, it's up there.
Ever?
It's a song. It's a WWE song that I play like in my car.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yes, it's awesome.
What a way to drive around town.
Yeah.
I didn't even consider that. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it on the way home.
There's a bunch of wrestling themes that I will do that with, but not very many modern WWE ones. Like
the Kevin Owens one's good.
It's good. Yeah.
Sami Zayn's is good. Sami Zayn's theme song is really good for like cardio.
That's why I started listening to this. A lot of the wrestling themes was my like fired up.
Yeah.
Playlists on Spotify. It's for workout or like we had a big game or something, like coaching my daughter in basketball. Play it for her, get her fired up, that kind of stuff. But now I just like listen to this. Mostly AEW.
Do you pop on Glorious by Bobby Roode?
Of course.
Ever?
That's absolutely.
That song's amazing.
The two greatest, as we all know, Sasha Banks' original NXT theme, followed very closely by Ravishing Rick Rude's, I'm not kidding here, sixth WCW theme, Simply Ravishing. Check it out on YouTube. It is like, I heard the Sidgwick, my boy, What Culture, talking about it, and then I had to go onto Twitter to tell him, like, thank you for mentioning that song that I just listened to, and now all my neighbors get to watch me bop around to Simply Ravishing while I rake my leaves.
Sure. and thrust your pelvis.
Yeah.
And wear
it is a jam.
Gaudy robes.
It is a jam better than anyone seems to remember, myself included, to coincide with the most underrated run maybe in wrestling. But
Ravishing Rick Rude?
WCW Rick Rude. So unbelievable.
And now I got to watch it.
It was Dirty Don Callis level heat.
Oh, okay. It occurred to me last night. I was, I forget what I was watching. I think it was like it was like 30 minutes of the loudest crowds outside of WWE. And I forgot that Don Callis was Cyrus.
Oh, yeah.
In ECW. And I was like, it's Don Callis. I haven't thought about him in a while.
He worked for the network.
Yeah.
They had, like, TNN was this big evil corporation.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are barely above public access. Yeah. But still, it was cool.
They also got
character.
no press. What was it? TNN did not advertise them.
No.
Right?
They were fighting. They signed with TNN, and then that day there was already on xwrestling.com back in the day or wherever, there was 10 stories about how they were already fighting with each other. Like they didn't want blood or swearing or did you know what you were buying?
Yeah.
TNN?
No, they certainly did not. So The Rock gets in the ring after 12 minutes and 56 seconds from the Bloodline music hitting until The Rock beginning to talk. Rock says he's got some good news to share. Apparently, Glendale's 10 miles away from Phoenix.
Wait. Oh, you skipped over what Roman.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's important. So Roman comes down and.
That's fair. I did.
Because it's story-wise, it all adds together nicely. It's just Roman solo, Jimmy, and the Wise Man in the ring, and Roman does acknowledge me, and he is then disappointed with the reaction that he gets. He says, used to be louder. Let me try this again. And this time he says, all right, maybe I said the wrong thing. Because he said Glendale the first time, the place where they actually are. He says, Phoenix then, gives a shot to them. Acknowledge me. And again, people are booing now. And, Roman's getting flustered. And he tries it a couple more times. And then he's like, all right, screw it. You're welcome. I gave you my appearance. It's all I'm required to do. Turns to Heyman and then off mic, but you can hear him. Is like, all right, let's get out of here. tell them to fire up the jet. I'm done with this. I want to be out of here. And Heyman, for the first time, I think, since they started this angle 3 years ago or whatever it was, contradicted Roman. Like, he was like, my tribal chief, we can't. He's coming out. We need to stay here because he's coming out. Mm-hmm. So, insinuating that, okay, Rock's coming out, and he's telling Roman basically like, well, he's the bigger deal. We can't. Sorry. I know. Like, he was scared and didn't want to tell Roman this, but like Heyman's never done anything like that, like over the course of this entire story. So it was like very much leaning in that direction, which led to.
I'm really glad you mentioned all that because I didn't write any of that. That's really
like
good.
my favorite part of
the
there we go. Episode.
I think I had,
because of the way this thing.
No,
this segment finished.
You know what? I don't think I watched any of that for two reasons. One, Roman never does anything spectacular, and I saw it went right to commercial. So I think I skipped right over it. Plus, I just watched the Twitter promo, and I couldn't fucking wait to see what he had. Yeah. So I'm like, when's The Rock going to say? All right, so good. That's very cool. All right, so they're showing, man, that's good storytelling because now they're creating
Roman's like
who's actually in charge kind of thing.
He never gave a shit if people cheer real loud. And
dude,
now
that makes so much sense.
Self-conscious about it.
But that plays into the end of that. Not only does that play into the end of this segment, which I'll hurry up and get to, but also Roman's acting throughout this segment is he's just quietly pissed off
Roman's
the whole time.
Acting throughout this whole program.
His face, he looks so fucking annoyed the entire time. Okay, cool. Wow.
It's hard to believe that he's the same guy that John Cena like pantsed in that promo because he's so confident and great now. Even when he's got to play like not very confident, he does that with confidence somehow. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, he okay, I like all this. Very good. So Rock comes out and he says he has good news to share. He says apparently Glendale is 10 miles away from Phoenix, which is the #1 city for cocaine and meth use.
Which kind of pop,
big
kind
pop.
of like Rock's calling you meth heads and you pop.
And he said, finally, your life has meaning because you cactus loving crackheads have something worth shooting in your veins. And the crowd went ballistic.
Yeah, absolutely.
They loved it.
I mean, it is like Doug Stanhope's like closest hometown to the little tiny place he lives, I think.
Bisbee, Arizona.
So
where he like owns the whole town.
So the coke and meth.
Yeah, it all tracks. Not saying that Doug Stanhope does coke and meth.
or ever did.
No, straight as an arrow. So he said everyone's in a good mood because pro wrestling is cool.
Taking Doug Stanhope in my death pool 4 years in a row.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I was trying to say that quietly so as to not to step on you. But
no, you're fine. I haven't thought about him in a while. Now I'm worried.
He's fine.
I want him around for a long time.
Keeps fucking. I love him.
I went to go see him.
It also was costing me death pool points.
Sure. I went to go see him at the Lakeshore Theater, which is now defunct Chicago Comedy Club.
I saw him a couple times too. He's unbelievable.
And he was doing, I think, 2 nights or something like that. And I saw him like at Santa Friday. And I met him afterwards, and I'm like, yo, I'm going to be back tomorrow. And he goes, just stay home. It's going to be the same shit.
He's fantastic.
Just the greatest. Anywho, so he said, back to The Rock, everyone's in a good mood because pro wrestling is cool, exciting, electrifying once again. It's why Birmingham sold out. Salt Lake City sold out. It's why tonight in this crack den with popcorn, we are sold out.
That popped me at home. I was like, ooh, that's delightful, Rock.
He's amazing. He said wrestling is cool again because of The Rock, Roman, and the Bloodline. And he said, you know who else wants to go one-on-one with The Rock? Every woman in this arena. It's like, now settle down, you crackhead Karens, you meth head Marys.
Crackhead Karens is good.
Yeah, because there's no way you are ready for The Rock's 22 inches of heaven, baby. And then he was like,
it's not.
No, he goes, no, not that. Keep your mind out of the gutter. The Rock isn't talking.
He didn't say not that. He's like, oh, no. It's not the Holy Moses.
Yeah,
which is apparently what The Rock calls his cock.
He's talking about his arms, obviously. Brock brings up a good point. Why is he challenging The Rock? Oh, so The Rock brings up a good point. He says, why is Cody challenging The Rock when he has to focus on a match with the most dominant champion in the history of WWE?
Good point.
It's a fair point.
It's a fair point.
It's a very fair
hasn't
point.
Lost in 4 years or something.
And then he counters Cody's one-on-one challenge with a tag match stepped up for WrestleMania Night 1.
Yeah, I like how he just pushed past the one-on-one.
Yeah. So he said, I'm a businessman, I counteroffer, which felt... So we'll reverse this in a second, but the whole spiel is... so it's going to be Rock and Roman Reigns versus Seth and Cody Rhodes on Night 1 of WrestleMania.
Which I think is the right move.
Well, it was going to happen.
They were heavily insinuating it, but like you couldn't do Rock in a singles.
Fuck no.
I don't think.
No.
Like that was the thing I was super scared of when this all started before The Rock got awesome again.
Absolutely.
I still am worried that a 300-pound like actual bull on steroids version of The Rock is going to be able to get in there and give us 12 minutes.
I don't want that to happen now because I'm enjoying the shit out of The Rock and I want him
around
for a long time.
match is the perfect way to do that.
Yeah, protect him. So if Seth...
How much older is Sting than The Rock?
Bass player Sting or wrestler Sting?
I'm only talking about bass player Sting now that now the wrestler Sting is retired.
Well, how old is The Rock? The Rock age. No, not The Rock agency. What is that?
Because The Rock last time, 11
Rock
years
is
ago,
51 years old.
So he was 40 in that comeback against when he came back to wrestle Cena.
Is my age.
Jesus Christ,
my
he
age.
blew up so fast, man.
Yeah.
So not gonna go great if he tries to do singles again. Sorry.
All I'm hearing you
but
say.
I digress.
All I'm hearing you say is the next 14 years of my life is I have to buy so many new clothes because I'm about to
You're gonna
bulk
get
up.
so swole.
Yeah. That's great.
You get that human growth hormone he's got. Start cycling that shit like he does.
Nope, it's tequila and power pancakes. That's all that's making him bigger. But anyway, so Seth Rollins, if Seth and Cody win the tag match on Night 1, the Bloodline will be barred from ringside. If Roman and Rock win, then it's Bloodline rules. Anything goes. And The Rock says
Which I assume is Judy Bagwell on a pole rules.
It has to be. How hard?
I mean,
dude,
right?
how fucking hard would you laugh if Night 2 of WrestleMania rolls around and they just have an Easter egg somewhere far in the corner, fucking Judy Bagwell in the cage.
I thought you were going to say they book it for Night 2. I'd be like, I was going to say I'm going to go to one of the scalper ticket sites and buy $2,000 nosebleed seats to WrestleMania.
Just to see Judy Bagwell. What a scavenger hunt item. Find Judy Bagwell on a pole. Rock says if Seth and Cody do not accept that, The Rock will do everything in his power to make sure Cody doesn't win, and no one will stop him since he's the boss.
And we assume, I mean, jokes aside, the Bloodline rules is just no DQ, right? I mean, whenever somebody says whatever our faction
anything
rules,
goes.
it usually just means it's a no DQ.
So
I don't know which way they're going to go either.
Bloodline's winning Night 1.
You think?
Yes.
For sure?
Why would they ban the Bloodline from ringside? That takes away all of the character work.
They also have banned the Bloodline from ringside a bunch of times, and they just still come out because there's no... Historically, there's really no stakes in WWE because you can just do whatever you want.
I think given how lack of a triumph it's going to be when Cody wins because of all this tomfoolery they've done.
That's why I really want it to be... whatever happens, I'm fine with. Just nobody touch Roman.
No, but I think he needs a higher mountain to climb, and I think having Bloodline rules, if he's winning Roman's match.
This is putting a great challenge in front of him. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. I just don't want it to be like diminished.
No.
Because Roman, in the melee, Roman gets hit. But I don't want Cena at 2011 Money in the Bank.
No.
Again, my favorite WWE match of all time.
Dude, he might be there too.
I get pissed off every time I see it.
Yeah.
Like, Cena, did you have to do that shit? Just fucking put him over. That's what I'm afraid of.
You're not wrong. Cena said he's available for Night 1. Someone asked him on an interview. He's like, I got nothing to do April 6th or whatever.
That dude is a cyborg.
I like Cena now.
I love him.
Because he
puts
he's a
everybody
weird
over. Man.
Yeah.
Remember when the Miz did that super scathing, brutal takedown thing where he impersonated John Cena at their lead into WrestleMania?
Yeah.
It was
it's when Maurice dressed up like Brie Bella, right?
And they Maurice was like, "You're
not Brie
like,
Bella, the other one,
just
Nikki Bella."
Brutal. She was like attacking Nikki Bella for like shit she was probably really actually worried about and self-conscious about. Like, he doesn't really love you. You're never gonna have a baby. Look at my wedding photos. And then Miz doing like, I'm a robot. It was like, I'm not capable of love. It was the biggest takedown I've ever seen in wrestling history, and nobody ever talks about it.
No. It's Miz is good. Like every
he's good at everything but wrestling.
He's serviceable. That's about it though. But
that's not good. It's serviceable.
No, it's certainly not good. If you have a career as long as he did and you haven't done as much as you should have,
he has not had 2 great matches in 15 years.
No. And like him and Dolph Ziggler headlining that pay-per-view for the IC title
That's the one.
Yeah, and like because Dolph Ziggler bumps his ass off for everybody, and he makes everybody look amazing. Yeah. Like, oh man, can you imagine Ziggler and Ospreay? Woo, doggy.
Oh man,
woo, doggy.
How long is Dolph signed with?
He said he wants to fight.
I know. I don't know. No, you know what? No, I need to put a barrier for myself up and stop. I said Ospreay was the last guy that I wanted him to sign. I lied because now the guy that let's just
move on. We'll just keep talking about WWE. Yeah. I have to backtrack and talk about since they're trying to make this a continuity thing, which they beat us over the head with this week on both shows. We got to talk about continuity in this decision making. So, first, it went The Rock and Roman Reigns. Even before that, Cody is stepping aside, giving the match to The Rock. Roman picks The Rock. Moments later, Cody says it's me and Roman. Then it turns into, I think the next thing was Cody wants to fight Rock one-on-one. Right? There was nothing in between because it was the slap, and the slap led to the challenge.
Led to the Cody challenge.
I want to challenge you one-on-one. And then the next thing was Rock says...
His counteroffer, his businessman counteroffer, right?
Businessman, literally what just happened on SmackDown. I do not accept your one-on-one challenge, but instead, I'm going to give you the most favorable stakes in your position I can drum up. It makes no fucking sense why he offered these terms to Cody Rhodes. It makes no sense, and I normally wouldn't care.
Maybe he's so confident that he knows that they're gonna pull some bullshit and cheat and win. And if it's bloodline rules, he probably sees it as like that's an impossibility for even the plucky upstart Cody Rhodes.
But they have to win. Okay.
Even though every Roman match is basically bloodline rules because they cheat with the bloodline every match. I'm talking about with the potential psychology from Rock's perspective.
That's the only thing that makes sense. They're so hyper confident that they're going to win. Say that then.
Yeah.
Say there's no chance for winning. I'll tell you what, if we do lose, we're not allowed at ringside. Be the arrogant kind. But they didn't. They didn't say it. And I'm watching it this whole time going, why? Why
would you offer that when they're going to be at ringside anyway?
Yes.
So
it's like a moot point. Like it's just I guess it steps up the tag match a little. It didn't need it, but I guess it maybe. I don't fucking know.
It's WWE. I give them way more lenience than I do.
They over prepared in one area and drastically overlooked.
They crushed it in the area that matters to them, which is the Rock being super charismatic.
Right.
And
the next part, which, dude, fucking Roman goddamn Reigns.
Awesome.
As I alluded to earlier, he was making so many good facials throughout this. And at one point, they got a poster shot where The Rock goes behind Roman and Roman looks over his shoulder. I'm like, oh, that's the cover of a VHS,
absolutely,
a Coliseum home video that I would have bought. So he's stink-eyeing him the whole time. And The Rock's about to do, if you smell. And Roman Reigns puts his hand on The Rock's hand that's holding the mic to stop him.
The Rock does the bend down thing he always does when if you smell before he, stands up straight to do what The Rock is cooking. Before he can stand up, you just see a hand come into frame and hold The Rock's arm down so he can't do the stand-up thing. And the whole goddamn arena goes, ooh. It was guttural. It was exactly the reaction they were looking for.
Yeah,
it came out perfect.
And then, I didn't write down what he said word for word, but what Roman said, Rock, I need you to acknowledge me as your tribal chief.
It was,
and the place goes ballistic.
Yeah.
Because I'm at home going, oh!
Yeah, I'm like, holy shit, they're doing that now.
So cool.
And then The Rock takes his shades off.
Yeah.
And the place goes ballistic again.
Yeah.
But it's the first time since he's gone full old school Rock heel that I've seen his eyeballs, I think.
Yeah. His beady little eyeballs. But he does. He acknowledges him as the tribal chief. And then he says...
he said, looking in his eyes, I acknowledge you as my tribal... unambiguously.
Yeah.
I acknowledge you as my tribal chief.
It was so good. So well done. And, that's where the...
Makes Roman feel so much bigger.
Right?
Than he did 2 seconds before that.
Right, because he was feeling just kind of like a bit player. like on par with Seth Rollins as the most important person in that foursome.
Because he's got to stand next to like the sun.
Yeah. And then they do that, and The Rock goes back to, he's about to, do as if you smell what The Rock is cooking, but right before he does, he goes, now go home and smoke some more crack to the crowd. They do their pose. The Rock does the L with his one hand.
Well, he does.
And then he tucks
He does do if you smell. He goes, if you smell.
Oh, yes.
Big pause, hands the mic to Roman, who says, what the bloodline is cooking in his Romany way. That's
right.
cool, too.
Absolutely.
But yeah, then they do, everybody does the acknowledge me finger in the air. Rock does the regular finger in the air, like the actual bloodline one. Then he sneaks his thumb out to make the L again and then sneaks it back in.
Right.
So he's definitely turning.
Also,
I like that, though. It's like a little whoop.
Yeah. And I mentioned it before. Rock was in the center of the ring. Everybody else was off center a little. Yeah. They didn't pan out this time. So I don't know if I don't know if that's on purpose or I'm just really overanalyzing. But
it's WWE, so you probably overanalyze.
What?
But I did like how subtle the thumb thing was. He didn't like overcook it. It was just a little whoop. It was enough that everybody saw. But they trusted the audience to catch it. So
1,000%. What a great segment.
Yeah, it was awesome.
What a great
and also segment. It ate up half of SmackDown. So
it's like the fifth time you've said my favorite part of SmackDown was I didn't have to watch it.
No. And it was a thing that I enjoyed, and it took half of the show. So excited about that.
And it was quick. Yeah. You look up, you're like, whoa.
Felt like it was over very quickly. Like I didn't it went super, super long, but I do not feel like it was like when people go way over their time, yammering on or whatever. I think everything that happened was like the beats, the amount of time was correct and to make you feel stuff. And it was all good. It was all right.
1,000%. The rest of the show, everything else on the show had a place. They're continuing stuff. So up next, they do a backstage thing where they're setting up Randy Orton for Austin Theory. Randy Orton challenges. He walks in the back and he sees Austin Theory and Grayson Waller.
So we get Grayson Waller on Laura last week in the main event. And
Austin Theory.
At least Randy Orton's there to spice things up.
Yeah, and Grayson Waller keeps throwing Austin Theory like to the wolves. So that's like the story they're doing. So they're going to do a breakup angle with two people I couldn't care less about.
I don't mind them together either. So I'd rather they do their stooge thing because that's the best thing they do.
If they have to be on TV, this is the best use of them. Next, I have you have more on that?
No.
Oh,
who would have more on that?
I heard you breathing in, and I'm like, I gotta hear what else you gotta say about this.
Yeah, I was just thinking about how much time I've like pissed away in my life watching bad WWE television programming. It is like years probably.
We're addicts, man. We're addicts. It was so good when we were younger, and then we're just like,
it'll be fine again. Like the first half of SmackDown, still great. WWE, even though I don't like anything about the way they put any of their stuff together, they still have like high points that I love. Yeah. Like the Rock stuff, the Bloodline stuff, I unambiguously adore. I would like it on any program.
Right.
But then they go in and they have to have matches, and WWE matches it's like torture.
It's tough.
It's like, wait a minute, it's my favorite thing in the world done in a way that offends me. So I'd rather watch shitty like field hockey because I don't care about field hockey if it's being done shittily.
How dare you?
It's fine.
Yeah.
Wrestling is, Dave, I don't know if I've mentioned this. I care about wrestling a little bit. And when I see it done the way that they do.
It's just weird you don't care about field hockey the way you care about wrestling. I don't know. This is America, isn't it?
I mean.
No, don't.
It's pretty insulting. No. It was the. No, I'm sorry. Continue.
I won't insult you any further.
But I digress.
Since you love wrestling so much, I do have a strong opinion about the next thing that happened. Not about the match itself, but kind of the overarching feel of the whole thing. Next was Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi.
Yeah.
I heard that the Bloodline segment went so long that they had to really concede on a lot of production for this show. Notably, right away, the first thing after in-ring wise was Naomi didn't get an entrance. Naomi has a dope entrance.
Yeah, she does.
And she's just back recently.
Like I said, she's the most overlooked person.
Yeah. And Tiffany Stratton got like a partial entrance.
Did you see the Bianca stuff too? Speaking of wrestling fans being racist.
Garbage human beings.
So
garbage humans.
It was a photo shoot for the game? It was Cody, a photo shoot, Cody, Rhea, and Bianca.
Yeah.
And I won't say what people said, but a bunch of people said it's
and these were like Instagram comments on the photo,
yeah,
right?
and it like trended. It is brutal. I just
garbage human being. Say nothing.
Yeah.
Or just walk off a short cliff.
The worst people.
Yeah, go away. We don't need you here. She's undeniable.
Yeah.
She's an undeniable asset to that company.
I don't
got to sell you on
it with the it's
any
not
more
worth
time.
it.
All right,
we all know.
Yeah.
Like
I was happy to see how many people came to her aid, but that was, it's a good. Some of the community's good, but most of the community is really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi. Yeah, they skipped the entrances. Not a lot of, the match was fine. Naomi
I liked the match. I thought it was probably my favorite match in the show.
On the show, yes.
And it like went by quickly. And everything was like hit well. I liked the little taunt where Tiffany Stratton did her like handspring as a taunt, and then Naomi did it without putting her hands down. She did that, the one she does that's like kind of more impressive looking.
Right.
It was just a cool little back and forth there.
Look at it.
But I dug it.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
It was a fairly clean win too. She cheated. Tiffany cheated a little bit. She did like an eye poke or whatever. But it was also like a real finish to a match. I was like, hey.
It was a very prettiest moonsault.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
she landed it perfectly.
She must have just had jitters or something those first couple. Because she's just incredible since.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you're going from working at the Performance Center to a soccer stadium in Australia, it's a notch up.
I don't love Naomi being like already fodder after the big comeback. Like I just want to see her higher on the card.
Maybe
I feel like they're gonna
after
stick her on a
Mania
tag team in that fucking god awful tag women's division.
It's bad.
The champs are great. Everything else is just sewer.
Yeah, it's tough. She did do a very cool. She did a heat seeker like pedigree on the apron, which I'm like, oh, that's MJF's finish, but like a pedigree.
It was a good match.
Here's my big overarching thing with this, and they were good, and they're two great workers. There is going to be a real concern with the WWE Women's Division in about 2 or 3 months when the AEW Women's Division might be
crushing
the
it.
most.
It's like Stardom 5 years ago.
It's going to be and that's like not to get ahead of myself here, but I was very salty that Riho was going to be on the show, and Riho and Chris Statlander had one of the best matches.
Also, I agreed with you. We'll get to it, but Riho's actually been on TV quite a bit. She's on Rampage, where I'm not always watching.
We're not seeing her,
so she has been consistently on TV all year. She's only she is exclusive to AEW, by the way. I didn't know that either. But
she doesn't
still
bounce back and forth.
She'll do like an indie show here and there. But
what a terrific goddamn match those two had, and like given all the talent in WWE, and they have a very specific women's type of match. Like a lot of them do
Performance Center match.
Yeah. And then, but the women in AEW are like,
can fucking go.
They can go. So like, it's not going to be a problem for WWE, but like,
yeah, they don't care about that anyway.
No, but like, as the viewer, you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean. You may have noticed I've mentioned it a time or two.
It's just it's a clear divide where I'm gonna like
good wrestling against Performance Center.
Yeah, and like I don't know what that's gonna do. I'm curious how like I'm going.
They also refuse to sign. They don't want. They said it years ago. Well, we're done. We're not going to sign independent wrestlers anymore.
They're going to build everybody
we're
inside.
We're going to sign college athletes and build them in the Performance Center, which you can't stick to 100%, but they kind of have to a pretty wide degree, which means you get a bunch of people that wrestle exactly the same.
What was the last big signing they had? Indie-wise?
The Indies? Been a while. They made a play for Ospreay and Jay White, but they got
Okada as well.
Okada too. Did you see what he got? I texted you, right?
$13.5 million over 3 years.
Yeah, big money.
Yeah, it was. Was it 2 billion yen? I think it was.
I read that first. I'm like, what am I?
And then you got to get your Google converter out.
That's our third episode. This podcast where we mentioned yen. By the way,
we're cultural. So yeah, I was just watching this match. I'm like, these are two women I like, but then like, it's just gonna be a turnoff for me. I think once Britt Baker and Mercedes shows up, Chris Statlander's been crushing, Sky Blue's crushing, Queen Amidala.
Jamie Hayter might be my favorite of all of them.
She hasn't come back yet. So, but like, it's just like a murderer's row of women that are like not even there yet, and like I'm just looking forward to it. So I hope the ladies in WWE consider this as competition and like try to, I don't know. It's possible because like Asuka and Kairi Sane are having awesome performances.
Yeah, they just are awesome and have always been awesome. They were awesome in Japan. They were awesome in Stardom. Like,
I just want the tide to raise all boats, like in women's wrestling. So hopefully. Speaking of women, they do the Bayley and Damage Control video package that sets up a tag match. It shows a returning Dakota Kai.
These video packages are also better on SmackDown.
Yeah,
too. Like, it's not just like the action and the stuff that's happening.
With talking
the show's
over
produced way better than Raw is.
1000%. They got that Fox money.
Flows better. Aren't they getting $5 billion to put the
on Netflix?
Trash fire that's called Monday Night Raw
I
on Netflix?
I don't think they got it yet.
That's true. Yeah.
This is going to be HD drones everywhere. Like, what's the best technology ever? They're going to get 3D Tupac or hologram Tupac on the show.
God, I forgot about that.
So it's Bayley and Dakota Kai versus the Kabuki Warriors next. Kabuki Warriors start Bayley. Kabuki Warriors are really fucking good.
Yeah.
They just do chain wrestling really, really good.
I like everybody here.
Yeah. Bayley played Damsel in Distress very well. Goes for the hot tag. Dakota Kai jumps off the apron, thereby cementing her third heel turn on partner. She turned on.
I was happy to see this one, though, because I want Bayley to be a babyface.
Yeah, well, it's 1-on-4 now.
Yeah.
Finish of the match is thrown out because it's a 4-on-1 attack of the Kabuki Warriors, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. So,
and by the way, if SmackDown, if WWE is able to get 2 women's matches in on a show that had a 45-minute promo to start it, Tony Khan needs to get his ass in gear. You can get 2 women's matches on Dynamite
you're
more
wrong.
than 6 times in your history.
Especially since the aforementioned love they just got from
they have
this particular
burgeoning,
podcast.
incredible division.
Yeah. Damage Control's backstage. They run into Jade Cargill, which got a big pop.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if it was canned or.
I think it was real. She gets reactions. She's just built for WWE.
Yeah.
She's perfect.
She's just got a lot of allure. Like, she's a
Did you
star.
see the tweet that who was it? Who's what's her face? The blonde Jersey girl who I like what she's doing right now.
Carmella.
No.
Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan. Yeah. She tweeted like talking about seeing Jade Cargill in person. She's like, you don't understand. It's not like it is on TV. She looks incredible on TV. When you see her in person, it's like you're seeing God or some like some kind of being that's above us, and it was great.
Especially since Liv Morgan's like,
gorgeous.
She got hotter somehow.
Yeah.
And
I said that way too far.
It's
way too much heart. I'm like, she's super hot. Yeah.
I'm gonna go on the message boards later, and unbeknownst to me, I'm gonna be talking
dirty
to you.
Comments in the YouTube comments on Liv Morgan videos.
Oh God, so pretty. Just want to kiss her.
Wrestling community, great people. The worst of us are the worst.
Yeah, and they're usually the loudest. Braun Breaker versus Ion Quinn is next. Braun Breaker hears the bell, spears Zion Quinn. Match is over.
Braun's awesome. I don't know who Zion Quinn is, but it was he was a good look for a jobber.
He was an NXT guy.
Oh, okay.
I think I've heard that name before.
They really don't like. Braun is the exception that proves the rule. They don't like doing much with their NXT people, but Braun's awesome.
Yeah,
this was great squash. Did exactly
also easy in, easy out, nice showcase.
Yeah,
remind us that he's a thing. You know,
make him a big deal. Like that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
which is great.
If I had to lose the Wolf Dogs, then I want Braun to be a badass.
Yeah.
So he's great.
They do a LWO versus I think another LWO package next.
It was their let's jam all the people of one ethnic group together and. They need to work on that.
So they're
that's still a Vince Pill thing.
They're doing a subtle thing on Raw with I guess I could talk about it now since we're going to talk about Raw in a second. They keep teasing Andrade and Dominic, and they did it in the subtlest of ways. So after Dominic's match, he's in the trainer's room and he's doing a segment with the Judgment Day. And you just see Andrade, like they don't focus on him.
Yeah.
You just see him poke his head in and they have like a pleasant interaction. And that's it. That's fine. You don't. You don't need an LWO.
I don't know why. Why does it have to be Dom he's interacting with? Because he's Mexican. Mexican American.
I see what you're saying.
You don't have to jam all your.
Yeah. It's fine. Like that. They're like it. It's understandable that those two would be friends and they would talk. right? Because
I don't
like
know if it's understandable that anybody would be friends with Andrade.
But let's call it what it is. People who have similar backgrounds and they tend to gravitate toward you know what you're comfortable with. So I don't mind that
unlike all the other wrestlers that are around nonstop.
Yeah, but like I don't mind that the Mexican guys are
I
talking
have
to
no
each other.
problem with it,
But
really.
I agree with you, and I had that gripe. Like we don't have to put every version of that in a stable, fighting another version of that in
It
another
also
stable.
Diminishes if people are similar. You
Yeah.
put them all on screen together,
Right.
It diminishes all of them.
It 100% does. I haven't seen a wing clipper from Angel Garza in a long time. I used to love that finisher when they were pushing him real hard. Anyway,
It has been a minute.
it's been a hot minute. They're setting up this video packet, or this video package is setting up Santos Escobar versus Carlito in a street fight. So they do that. Neither group comes to ringside. It's a street fight. You would think this is the time to load the ring up with more bodies because it is a street fight. It's fun. I don't know the story here because admittedly I'm not really too interested.
No, because they're not interested in telling it either. So,
and then very cool, Rey Mysterio comes out.
Yeah, that was neat.
And Rey Mysterio is looking a little Great Muta-ish, which was nice. He had his Great Muta Hall of Fame induction mask on, and white, a lot of white in his. Was it his beard?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm like, was it
Great Muta?
contacts?
Kenji Muto. Shout out my baby nephew, Kenji. Wanted to do a shout out.
Sure.
Pop my sister.
Right.
That sounds fucking weird and gross.
Well, no,
our wrestling terminology is weird.
Yeah.
Pop my sister.
Yeah. But you can mean you could mean punch.
Yeah, that's not great either.
Pop her in the. One's better than the other. Both are crimes, but one is oof. Anyway, Rey Mysterio came back. And he was hobbling out on crutches, and he is clearly injured. Psych! No, he wasn't.
He's never been injured.
No, I just wrote crutches for everybody because he was just beating the shit out of everybody with crutches.
I really wish I could go back in time and unsee Rey Mysterio's face.
Oh,
when WCW did it, it felt like we were like imposing on something, and now I don't want to know what his face looks like.
I like how they just kind of whitewashed that when he came into WWE.
Well, Ray actually he went back to like Guadalajara and like talked to the people that trained him or something to like get permission to the mask back up, because that's a big deal. Like you take it off, you have to be unmasked then forever. He's one of the few guys that like got permission.
There's a tribe for that too.
It's a big.
So many tribes I didn't know existed.
It's why Penta as Uno Miedo is losing his mask. It's not Cero Miedo, he is Uno.
Oh.
You want to beat him, you pretend like you're going to rip his mask off, and it freaks him out. But that's why it's a big deal.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, culturally, that mask is a massive deal.
Sorry,
nobody has. Oh, you're fine.
Rey Mysterio's baby face haunts my nightmares.
He's going to yell at me because I said that. You're fine.
Oh, Joe.
Yeah, Joe. You're fine. He's so mad. Stout out shush. That's Tom saying it forever.
That's a gimmick now.
Yeah, New Catch Republic asks Nick Aldis.
My name's growing on me, by the way.
For a tag team title rematch. And Nick Aldis says that he and Adam Pearce are talking.
I thought Magnus was on Dynamite.
Yeah, he didn't have his mask on or his entire...
He looked like 7 inches taller.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's like he teleported. Like, there's a Magnus multiverse?
By the way, why is actual Nick Aldis like the GM? He's like 38 and he's never been injured. So like, he's a wrestler. He was the NWA champion for like 2 years. Why'd they bring him in to make him the GM?
Dude, who else were they gonna get?
Okay, like, why sign Nick Aldis?
No, but that's the furthest I can get with my logic, because I genuinely have no idea.
A wrestler, still kind of in his prime.
I have no idea.
Uninjured.
Maybe he'll wrestle again. Yeah, he was like
He's
a very cool.
On Twitter, he's like, oh yeah, maybe, but there's no reason I couldn't.
Maybe
wrestle.
he doesn't want to.
No, he
he is expressed.
Yeah,
I see. I don't know. You're getting that WWE money. Who knows? So Nick Aldis said that he and Adam Pearce are talking. Then there's going to be an announcement regarding the tag team titles soon. We do not get any resolution on that. They go back. LA Knight's looking for AJ Styles in the back. He's not there. I wrote nothing else. KO comes out to be the special guest commentator for Randy Orton and Austin Theory.
which I'm always anytime Kevin Owens is on
I'm sure
screen,
he said
I'm happy.
wonderful things. I went right to the end of the show.
Yeah,
when
I like it played in front of me, but I think I was like
Yeah.
unconscious or
Randy Orton wins with the RKO.
astral projected out of my body.
Yeah.
Randy Orton and Austin Theory.
Yeah, it
is,
was-
no thank you.
So that is 1 week of WWE programming where Grayson Waller and Austin Theory both were in main event matches.
Yeah, back-to-back shows. I don't want to end it on dog shit main event. They should have closed with Tiffany Stratton and Naomi. That's a much
Yes.
better main event.
100%.
But outside of that main event, I think the show was pretty solid. Like,
Oh, SmackDown was good.
went by quick. And
Everything was there for a reason. It advanced storylines.
there was actually a little bit of like rope-to-rope wrestling that was okay.
Yeah. It was. I'm sure the Randy Orton Austin Theory match was great for a TV match. I think
think Randy Orton found his niche as a tag wrestler with the douchebag, and he needs to get another partner because he moves slow as hell.
Boo. Oh, I'm glad he's gone. I hated him.
Yeah, he's a dickhead.
I hated him.
They asked him like, "Oh, you get suspended?" Like it was an interview or whatever, like for weed. He's like, "Yeah, that, but also all the cocaine I was doing."
Oh,
like,
sure, yeah.
Yeah, he's a bad person.
I get it. You're him. That was SmackDown.
Yes, it was.
Our Monday Night Raw opens with a Cody Rhodes promo where he quickly recaps The Rock's promo from SmackDown, calls out Seth Rollins. Cody said something I didn't love. Just like I like when the passion matches the action.
Sure.
And it's like how I was just saying, like, oh, The Rock really got pissed off when Cody said, that his boys were lackeys. Like, that doesn't warrant the anger that I think you're displaying. Like, it was a way to get there, but like I
get that. It could take you out of it if you're reacting to something in a weird way.
So Cody does that. He said Cody didn't change his mind until he saw the PowerPoint about why their family is better than everybody else's family. I go, so you were backstage and you were like just totally fine with all this happening, and then you saw the big tree and you're like, fuck this.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So he's saying that it was like a spur of the moment decision.
That's exactly how
when
he said
came
it.
out onto stage.
And I'm like, no. Cody gives Seth an out in regards to his help at Mania. He says,
he sure did, because I would too if I was Cody.
Seth said he has to finish his story too. And then he says, 10 years ago, the Shield wanted to take power from the top and give it back. The Shield wanted to take power from the top, and Seth wanted to give it back to the people, and Roman wanted to keep it for himself. I do believe, if memory serves me, Seth Rollins broke up the Shield and joined the bad guys.
Even.
It's one of the biggest heel turns in wrestling history. But he wanted to give the power back to the people somehow.
Nothing he says makes sense.
Nope. Nope. If you Men in Blacked everybody prior to this show, great promo. Yeah. But you have to understand, we know the canon. We've been watching it forever. We've been talking about the finish for SummerSlam '95.
Think their audience is dumb.
Yeah. Seth says he's kind of over The Rock, and then he gives The Rock a new
don't
nickname.
say some shit that just makes you look like an asshole. Like the
Diarrhea Dwayne.
Yeah, he did. I do. I'm going to give him. Dwayne. This is not. It's not like grace or credit. I do think what he was trying to go for.
Yeah.
Was The Rock makes up these dumb names like Cody Crybabies. So I'm going to do Diarrhea Dwayne. I know it's dumb, but that's the joke. But he didn't land that joke either. And it ended up being way worse because Diarrhea Dwayne is garbage.
It's bad.
But if you're going to put that over as I'm fucking with The Rock because The Rock does dumb stuff like this and this is the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
You need to get there with everybody understanding that.
Yeah.
Because he did not at all.
No.
Can I give you my notes from this segment?
Before
I stopped.
Is there anything left?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm trying to push through it.
No, Rollins
because Seth comes out and we didn't even talk about that yet.
Rollins is medically cleared, and both of them are going to SmackDown to answer The Rock's challenge.
Yeah,
so
Seth
The
comes
Rock
out dressed as a highlighter. Which I think McAfee actually made reference to.
But that was it. So The Rock gives him a challenge for the tag match with the Stips on SmackDown, and they acknowledge that they were challenged, and then they're members of Monday Night Raw, but for some reason they're going to go to SmackDown.
It's it was like the Bizarro World Evil version of the promo we got on SmackDown. Yeah. It's like the worst possible. My notes.
Now I want to hear your notes.
My notes. This is like before I abandoned notes altogether on the show. So for the first segment of the show, I got first note, Cody deserves better. Seth looks like a highlighter. Oof. Diarrhea, Dwayne, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Seth needs to go away. So I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah. That's it. Gunther fought
We're done with Raw? Can we go on to Dynamite?
This was actually fun.
No, it was great.
Gunther and Dominic.
I loved it. This was actually like a positive. I would have enjoyed this on any show.
Yeah. So right away, too, in the match, Michael Cole acknowledges that Sting retired last night.
And they said, like, kick-ass match or something.
Pat McAfee says, absolutely epic match last night.
Epic match.
He can't get another breath into his mouth, and Michael Cole is bulldozing past. I don't know if that was, like, timing.
McAfee goes into business for himself quite a bit. But I don't care either way. It is cool. I think it's cool that they were able to, like, acknowledge and, like, Sting, even though they did him dirty as hell.
Yeah.
I keep seeing, again, the discourse. People like, oh, you think now that he's retired, Sting's going to do some guest spots in WWE? Like,
no.
Fuck no.
No.
They, like, treated him horribly.
Yeah.
And he, like, has openly acknowledged it. Like, he absolutely adores AEW at this point because they treated him so well. So
64 years old.
But I'm talking about the discourse, Dave.
It's a 64-year-old man. He somehow looked older in WWE, too.
He looks like 40 years older. He looks like The Undertaker.
And they did a cool thing in this match where they did the same chop spot that Kingston and Bryan Danielson did, where Gunther chops the ring post. What's that?
I said, friggin' fat head. I'm joking. I'm messing with you. You called him Daniel Bryan, so I called you a fat head. I'm just being a dick. Continue.
I am now going to just call him Daniel Bryan moving forward. But Gunther no-sold the injury pretty much. Like he let him hurt. He let him hurt it for like 2 seconds,
which was the right move too.
Yeah, because he's a powerhouse. Dominic bumped like fucking crazy for him. Gunther chopped the shit out of him. Dom was chopping him back. Like it was a very goddamn entertaining match.
Yeah, like Dom struggling to try to do it, and then they worked the most classic possible big scary monster kicks the shit out of a little weasel.
Yeah,
it was great. It was very satisfying. My favorite thing Gunther's done in a few weeks too. So credits to Dom. Like you said, he bumped his ass off, filled his role exactly like he should.
Yeah, I thought it was super fun.
Absolutely. By the best thing on the show by a million miles.
The finish was Gunther does a power bomb right into a Boston Crab and pretty much an immediate tap out from Dom.
Somebody mentioned that Michael Cole I didn't hear it, but multiple people confirmed that Michael Cole called the Boston Crab the Walls of Jericho a couple of times recently by accident. And I'm like, that fits in line with them acknowledging on air, Sting's retirement and also that it was a epic match, which it absolutely was.
I mean, it's like Jim Ross calling it the WWF World Championship on an AEW show. Yeah, well, he's done that a couple times.
Except the Jim Ross one is because of I think early onset dementia.
Yeah,
and WWE chose to talk about AEW.
That's fair.
I told you I liked it back and forth because it's 2024.
Right. Yeah, basic subtle stuff like that. That's all I had on that match.
Me too. It was good. Yeah. It was super short, so there's not a ton. It was just beat the shit out of him. It was great, very satisfying.
Imperium was not out there because it turns out
I do like Samantha Irvin is awesome.
Imperium.
Everything she does.
Mrs. Ricochet.
Yeah.
Damage Control was backstage.
I got some thoughts on Ricochet from this.
Well, he's coming up soon. Damage Control was backstage. Adam Pearce is like, why are you here? They're here to scout Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. And then Nakamura walks up to Pearce, says that he needs to talk about the IC title. Pearce says he has an announcement later tonight about the IC title. How's that whole
Yeah,
thing?
that's super exciting.
Yeah, I'm stoked. The GMs get that's actually a realistic thing. Like they get interrupted by everybody all the time.
Yeah,
which
do.
would
They
happen.
sure do.
Which would happen. Doesn't make it
Yeah,
entertaining.
you know what you do? Stop making matches like that.
Yeah.
Book a show like a normal person.
Yeah, not
Ahead
on the
of
fly.
time, and then
Say,
advertise
now
it.
that you mention it. So up next was Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, which was definitely her birth name.
So
I just wrote poor Shayna.
Women's tag fold this division. Those are my notes. Yeah, I feel bad for Shayna. Her partner, Katana.
Zoe Stark?
Or Zoe Stark, rather. Yeah. I think she's got some potential, too. She seems like decent. I think she was good in NXT.
She was really fun when she first came up, and she was inserted into the Trish Stratus, Becky Lynch stuff. And then, like, she just, I don't know, fizzled. Like, maybe
I can't
not.
imagine how.
I can't.
In the women's tag division.
Well, yeah, not to her fault, but, like, it's a really.
No, they just book it terribly.
Yeah.
They WWE still treats the women's tag division, the entire tag division of the company, to some degree, but very much the women's tag division. They still treat that as like, we're going to put the people that we don't know what to do with, stick them together, make them a team,
100%.
We should be past that. At this point, tag wrestling's awesome.
Yeah.
So book it that way.
Yeah.
And they at the top they have with Sammy and KO and Judgment Day is a good, real tag team, feels like a tag team. They're not awesome, but they're cohesive and it makes sense. But the women, it's just we don't know. People that we don't know how to get on TV, we're just going to stick them in.
Absolutely.
And you end up with matches like this.
Yeah. Now, well, it ended with something, and Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark are fighting the Kabuki Warriors next week. It is not for the tag team titles. It is just a match.
They always do the non-titles.
Who cares?
So you're ruining the potential match because we're going to see it already, and it ain't going to be FTRBC. So but that's also ruined, and then also you didn't have any stakes.
No, but also too, give me a third not title holding women's tag team in this company. So it's like the top two, the only two fought, and then the winner gets to fight. They just don't have a division.
The one I could have named broke up on SmackDown.
Yeah, 100%. I just don't. Whatever. Judgment Day was backstage, and all I wrote was that they're hinting at an Andrade and Dominic kind of pairing. Next was your favorite match of the evening. Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax.
Yeah, I mentioned this when we were watching the pay-per-view, but I think you were convincing me that Becky Lynch is not that great.
I think it's just a byproduct of watching really good women's wrestling.
Yeah, that's probably the truth.
Where you're starting
I'm coming
to
around on Nia's afro, though.
It does fit her.
I hate everything else about her, but I for the character or whatever that is that she's going for, I think it goes better than the J-Lo weave.
Right. Yeah.
The nicest thing I can say about Nia Jax.
Yeah. She tried a lot of Samoan drops. She
big fan.
She sticks to her guns on this. My notes on this entire match were whatever.
I got actually kind of like I actually like Nia's do. I was like, what the hell was I? Yeah, same thing I just said. And also that Nia Jax at some point, I don't know who won. Aliens could have come down and abducted both in this match, and I wouldn't know what happened. But I did see Nia Jax went to go she had Becky in the again Samoan drop position. Went to go try to slam her against the ring post. I think they were on the outside. Missed by 4 feet. And Becky just fell to the floor. And then Cole's like, Becky gets slammed off the ring post. I'm like, the fuck are we? We just not even trying? What are we doing here? What? You just tell me something happened? I saw. She dropped her on the floor. She missed by a mile. It was trash.
Yes. The visually impaired thought it was a great spot. She sold it really well.
Cole worked those blind people.
The rest of us with eyeballs were able to see. I also don't know how it ended, and I didn't want to go back to.
No.
All I know is that Liv.
I think my TV is set up to break if I ever rewind to rewatch Nia Jax doing anything.
One thing I do like in this little feud that they have going on here is Liv Morgan, because she interfered.
Yeah, I like her. I like the thing she got going.
She did it in response to Becky Lynch doing it to her last week with her Nia Jax match. So she interfered, It was a bunch of who gives a shit. They're probably setting up for a 3-way at Mania. They come back from commercial break. Backstage, it's Becky and Liv.
Do you think you're going to do a 3-way with Liv?
What are they do? Well, why are they doing?
I like that she's got a thing going. It just feels like, I don't know.
But
It
what
feels
are
like
they-
it diminishes the Mania match because that's like a big deal.
So
match.
why are they doing all this work with her right now, this close to Mania, if they're not going to do something with her?
They're telegraphing a 3-way, but it doesn't make sense to me.
She's
going to
be on the show.
Diminish the.
Yeah.
I mean, is it maybe it's less of a big deal than I'm thinking of it.
But if you look
it's
at
like your previous biggest name you've ever had against your current biggest name you have in the division,
and it feels
you just do that at 1-on-1.
But it feels cold, like just with it really does. And
I'm more excited about what Liv's doing than the story.
Just from her promo when they came out one by one, they did their promo train and they talked about why they deserve to be there. Liv had the most compelling goddamn argument of everybody.
She's actually got a cohesive, cogent story. Yes. The other ones, I'm not even sure why they're like fighting beyond Elimination Chamber.
Because the man has to collect her debts.
Yeah, it's a bunch of catchphrase and catchphrase back, and then that's it.
I saw Kill Bill too,
but I did like I like Becky's outfit kind of. Why did cutouts? But like, so yeah, I like the Liv thing, but like. Am I wrong? Is it you're diminishing your big 1-on-1 thing that everybody like dream booked?
I don't know if any, but like here's the thing: I don't know if anyone's like stoked to see that. Whereas, like
Becky's still over.
Yeah, Becky's still over, but like we've been talking, like, is that going to be a good match?
I mean, like I said last week, and you almost stabbed me over. I think Rhea's good, but not great in the ring. And Becky, you're convincing me that she's not good.
No,
really,
it's
in the ring.
So I think
she's not very athletic.
I think you put somebody that's super over that people like, and she's a good worker.
I mean, I would be
and her story
super happy to see
up.
Tiffany Stratton or like Bianca Belair or Naomi. Against Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, what are they doing with Bianca at Mania?
Yeah.
They got a lot of fucking holes to
fill. I know they
did.
Have they done Bianca Rhea? They did, right? Long time ago.
I feel like they had to have.
I think that was early because they were both like the NXT graduates. Is Bianca the biggest success story of the that terrible training program that they had?
Was Bianca Yeah, because she wasn't an indie person.
And she's post like when it was she was like doing what do you call it? She was what Seth Rollins does. She was like a CrossFit influencer.
Oh, really?
And then she went to the Performance Center and like so she's a straight Performance Center product. I think she's the only one really that's been very successful.
I'm good with that. Yeah.
But yeah, I would kill to see like that's I would be actually excited to see a Bianca Belair versus Rhea match because Rhea, like I said, I think she's very good and I think Bianca's great.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
There's just a lot of holes to plug in here. I'm very fine with Liv being injected in that match, mostly because I can listen to Becky talk. Yeah. I think Becky's a great talker, but like just the overacting in the ring. Like, I don't know. It's something about it's just not doing it for me anymore.
When Becky's doing a promo and doing it well, it's really, really good.
It's really good.
But sometimes, like you said last week, it can also come off as a little robotic if she leans too heavy on the shit that's written for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Liv feels real, and she feels like she gives a shit about what she's saying. So that's some story that I can get behind.
Yeah.
And whatever, if they do a 3-way, cool. It's just weird to me that it felt like they were building towards a big like showdown of their two biggest women ever.
Yeah. But then they shoved Liv in.
And then they're going to put Liv in there.
And she's been there for a couple weeks, so it's not an accident.
Yeah. No. I mean, they're booking it that way.
Yeah.
Clearly.
They're backstage, Becky and Liv, and Liv goes to Becky. Oh, the man can dish it, but the man can't take it, which I like. It's a good line.
She's right.
So they're
regular Drew McIntyre over here.
They booked Liv and Becky for next week 1-on-1. Next was an Adam Pearce announcing the Intercontinental title situation with WrestleMania implications. Did you want to take this one, or did you want me to?
The Ricochet, right?
Yes.
So I don't even know what he said because I was laughing and I didn't rewind. Ricochet comes out and talks to Adam Pearce. He's dressed exactly like the Lonely Island Dick in the Box guys. It's out of control. Like it looks like he's wearing a Halloween costume or something. He's got like a white, like aggressive turtleneck with a giant gold chain and like a sport coat
Where's
kind of thing
my
happening.
super suit?
Yeah, it's very dig in a box, like or Mother Lover. You know, if you're a fan of the B side. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah.
Every time I see Ricochet, I just feel sad. That,
Yeah.
like he's awesome.
He's so good.
And most WWE fans don't even know it because he hasn't really had the opportunity to do what I know he's capable of.
He just likes that light schedule, WWE money.
Yeah.
Plus his chick is there. So what they announced was that because Gunther needs a WrestleMania opponent to challenge for his record Intercontinental title reign, they're gonna have a gauntlet match next week.
Gauntlet matches are so bad.
And they didn't say what order, but the participants are Sami Zayn, Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bronson Reed, JD McDonough.
Yeah.
And
did you catch the?
Chad
I don't know. We may have
Gable.
gone past this already, but when JD McDonough was like, they had him make his pitch to Adam Pearce, and then they just went to commercial in the middle of him talking.
Middle of him
like,
talking.
Not as a joke or anything. There was like a screw up. They just cut to
but
the
that's
commercial.
If that's his gimmick, that would be a funny gimmick.
But
if he's constantly getting cut off,
it was just like, we don't care about.
But he was saying
the quality of our program.
Hey, just fucking send it. No one cares.
He was like animatedly talking.
Yeah.
Still, it wasn't. He wasn't winding down or whatever. But yeah, evidently because he did that, he gets to be in it.
Sure, because reasons. So they're having a gauntlet match, which just means two guys start, one guy loses, then another guy comes out, and then another guy
and like
loses.
when I look at it in a logic way, which I know I'm asking for trouble with Raw and logic, but so why is it a gauntlet match? Because the point of a gauntlet match, to like the reason it exists, it's dumb at all.
Yeah.
And people always talk about like that Seth one where he lasted for an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It was him doing like slow, bad rest crap for an hour and 20 minutes. But like the reason it exists is to punish someone. You put them first in a gauntlet match because that's a punishment.
Yes.
Who's getting punished here and why?
It is always a good guy fighting a shitload of bad guys.
Yeah, that's the point of it.
Defy
you
the
need
bad
to get
guys.
through all these bad guys.
Yes.
It's like something MJF would put somebody through.
Well, let's see.
When he
Who
was
is
heel.
who is a bad guy here? Sami Zayn, no. Ricochet, no. Nakamura, yes. Bronson Reed, maybe. JD McDonough.
He's very Australian.
Yeah, JD McDonough is who gives a shit. Chad Gable. Chad Gable's winning.
Yeah, and they keep pushing this like the thing you pointed out that now I can't unsee. Like he keeps talking about it being more important for him because it's personal. Like Gunther was mean to you. That's all.
Yeah,
that happens like on every wrestling show ever.
Yeah,
going back to the first wrestling show that ever happened. It's dumb. Just be trying to get the title because you're Chad Gable.
Be Chad Gable.
You came the closest to beating this guy.
Yes.
Be driven by that.
Be the leader of the thing we like you in, which is the Alpha Academy.
Yeah. I think they're going a three-way, by the way. I think it's going to end up some kind of goofy Scroogey at the end of the gauntlet, and it's going to end up being Sammy and Chad Gable. I would prefer Chad Gable. Like I think the most if they get rid of the stupid story that they have going. I just think it's going to be a great match. And we've seen Sammy and Gunther, and they were like decent, but not as good as the Chad Gable and Gunther.
Yeah.
But I would take either one of those one-on-ones over what I think they're going to do.
Yeah.
But who knows? They've changed like directions a bunch of times. I'll be happy with either one of those guys in a one-on-one. It's fucking why make it do a ladder match on Raw?
Yeah.
Why is it a gauntlet match? Doesn't make any sense. They do 25 gauntlet matches over the last like 15 years. They got one really cool moment out of it.
The only one I remember is and Kofi Kingston. Yeah, that's it. And even that required,
and that was a bad match too. It was just a cool moment with the Usos when they came out.
But that also played on like a year plus of storytelling.
Exactly.
Like,
and there's a reason why they were putting Kofi there because it was supposed to be like a punishment or a difficult thing to get through.
Yeah.
There's none of that.
No,
here.
all
It's just a bunch of
like
randos.
that was a very correctly told. But like again, that's one good guy versus a bunch of bad guys, and there's more than one good guy in this. You have to put Gable in it, but then what do you do with Zayn? That's right. I think it's a three-way. So it's a second year in a row of an Intercontinental title three-way.
I think that's why it's a three-way. I think they again learned the wrong lessons from last year, and think, oh, well, we struck gold with Gunther in a 3-way. Let's do it again. Well, no, you struck gold because it was like 3 beasts.
Yeah.
That exact perfect storm of a thing that happened that worked incredibly well for a 3-way.
Right.
It's not going to work the same with freaking El Generico and Gable.
No.
It's a different dynamic there.
I would like it if he put his El Generico.
You want, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You want Sami Zayn or Chad Gable, like, as the underdog fighting from underneath, which is almost impossible to do in a 3-way.
Yeah.
Why do I know this? But the great and powerful Oz, Triple H, doesn't seem to.
I think
maybe you're right, though. Maybe they're going on.
I don't know. It's just he deserves better. That's all.
All of them deserve better.
Yeah, that's a
Even
good point.
JD McDonough's weird looking ass.
I don't know if he deserves better. He's like the whipping boy
big ass head on a little guy.
I did not watch the next 4 matches. I
okay.
know what they are.
Sweet.
Do you have
I don't
anything?
feel so bad. I don't think anybody's listening to hear our thoughts on
Andrade versus.
Oh, actually, I do have thoughts on Andrade.
Andrade versus Apollo. Take it away.
So, notable, not in any good ways. But actually, prior to the Andrade match, so they came back from commercial break, then did 2 video packages, bad long video packages. Then Andrade did his entrance, and then they went back to commercial break. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching here? What are we doing? What are we doing?
This is his first singles match in how long?
An entire segment of television was 2 recaps of stuff that everyone knows.
Yeah.
And then a guy's entrance, which is I don't hate Andrade's entrance. So like that's kind of cool. But like, and then a commercial. What? Why? So you're breaking it up in between. You're like making Apollo Crews like look like shit because he doesn't get an entrance. So they come back from the break and the match is ready to start. Apollo's out there without any entrance at all. Like, whatever. I know he's down low on the card, but like no reason to continue.
Is he still doing like the Wakanda
I don't know.
Prince gimmick?
No, I don't know. The last time I paid any attention to him, he got that little tiny push 3 years ago or something.
Commander Aziz.
He's very good in the ring usually. This match was dog as shit.
No good.
Andrade is 40% worse working the WWE style than he was in working AEW matches or anywhere else.
I don't like that.
It's terrible.
Well, now I gotta watch it.
And he the worst no sell I've seen in forever. Apollo Crews hits a what do you call it? An avalanche? Or no, it's just a superplex. Top rope superplex.
Okay.
Andrade he lands it perfectly. Andrade rolls through into the Three Amigos. Didn't even sell it for like a second. Didn't do like the fired up. I got superplex from the top rope by a very good wrestler.
He did just come from AEW, so maybe old habits die hard.
That's my point exactly. The discourse tells me that Will Ospreay doesn't sell. No, he sells. And then he like gets fired up, tells you a story. Andrade just like that's as straight a no sell as I've ever seen.
Yeah,
just pretending a thing didn't happen. It was supposed to be like
it does happen quite a bit in AEW.
But
it happens like
if you don't like that style.
It happens on like Dark. Which guys will like give pedigrees and then guys will pop up and give super kicks.
The quote unquote no sell that I'm talking about are the ones that bad faith people are like, oh, you kicked out at 1 after a muscle buster. Yeah, because that's the story of the match. Did you hear the crowd go apeshit? People didn't go apeshit for Andrade just absolutely pretending that Apollo Crews' offense did nothing to him.
Sure,
like he didn't even delay. It was superplex straight into the Three Amigos.
Did Andrade always do the Three Amigos?
He's done it. I don't know if he ever used it like as a permanent signature thing, but I know I've seen him do it before because I've seen him do the shoulders, which he did here too.
That I did see.
He did the elbow. That was cool. It's always cool, no matter what.
Where he steps.
It just makes him so much more boring working the style.
Yeah.
And he's a dick. He just is. Like your first match back and you're like no selling.
Yeah.
A dude that I kind of like. So like.
I mean, just come back and play the hits. Just
do
whatever you did in the Royal Rumble.
Del Rio run you got coming here.
We don't need another guy doing the Three Amigos and the Eddie shoulder shit. Like
it's done too much in AEW.
But is he the only wressler that influenced anybody? Because nobody else pays on. Like
I think it's because
it's Bret Hart and Eddie Guerrero.
Easy to do the shoulder shimmy and get a pop.
I think
it's what people are.
But then they got to do the Three Amigos
now.
and like nobody does a good frog splash. And I don't know. I just feel like there's other wrestlers you can steal from besides Eddie Guerrero. Like he's just it doesn't even.
The Street Profits guy does a good practice.
He does like a Rob Van Dam frog splash, like, but he's not like doing the RVD thumbs before he does it. No. He should start. It would be very confusing.
I think Logan Paul should start doing like whatever, like this thing, the Hangman thing.
Yeah.
Whatever Hangman's taunt is.
Oh.
Sorry. I just wanted to bitch about Andrade for a
minute there.
How
dare you say
At
you're
least
sorry?
Some thoughts.
How dare you?
Beyond that, I don't know. Judgment Day against the Imperium.
Yep.
I guess happened.
Yep. Jumping Jeff Farmer.
I mean, we could have just a simulation on 2K, I guess. Same thing. Drew, I know he did something because I wrote Drew rules.
Yeah, he talked. He doesn't even. He's not going to do better on TV than he does on Twitter. Did you see he copied the CM Punk?
Crushed the shit out of Seth.
But did you see what he said about Punk? Where he's like, "I'm old and I'm tired. I work with fucking children" or something like that.
Oh no,
like,
that's great.
Yeah, he ripped off. He's just trolling the shit out of CM Punk.
I saw him.
The back and forth.
He posted that what's the diarrhea Dwayne clip, and he's like, imagine thinking you actually hit something here. And then Seth, I forgot what he came back with. He came back with something else, and then Drew did another one that was like, oh Jesus,
yeah.
You're beating a dead horse. Like, let him. Like,
Drew's
please,
very good.
Please, somebody stop the fight. And Seth is not. So Drew is like, and like Seth's responses were like 2 hours after Drew, so he was like thinking about it. He really put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah.
And like the second that he responded, Drew was like, boom, 30 seconds later with something way more clever and brutal. I love him. But I don't know what he did here. I just said Drew rules. It's like a sip of water in the desert.
Yeah. It's always going to be a good thing. Sami Zayn fought Ivar next.
I know. I got Cole is wearing fucking antlers now, apparently.
Because he talks about antlers all the time.
It's stupid.
He can't say the word or something like that, so they put the antlers on him and he lost his mind.
He looked like an asshole.
Yeah. Who won? Sami win? Probably.
I assume so.
Probably.
I was hanging on by a thread here. It was hour 3 of
So here, do this. Why, if you're building a gauntlet match with a bunch of dudes, when is that? Next week?
I think so.
Announce it at the top of the show and have every one of those guys fight.
Just do it
today.
Yeah.
Or on that show.
Say that we booked this, and like it's a pleasant surprise for you fans, but like this has been booked. These guys are ready to go. Let's go.
Yeah, and like here's a whole card full of matches that actually they don't have stakes necessarily.
Do a mini tournament. That'd be great.
I
would watch all those guys. I would watch every one of those guys wrestle.
Man.
I mean, we're never getting to like a show length wrestling tournament on WWE, but I would watch all those guys wrestle.
Yeah, not like the OG King of the Rings where it's just like, God. We could have split this up.
It wasn't always like this, Dave.
No.
Like I've gone back and watched other. It's not, and it's just Attitude Era either. It's like
Farm remembers.
2016 SmackDown was good.
Yeah.
Like unambiguously.
Well, they had James Ellsworth.
yeah, they did. But
also,
this is trash.
Why isn't Ivar in this thing? He's been getting a
he's
lot
had
of
a
love
great run.
lately.
I'm kind of ready for Eric to come back.
Yeah.
Because I like them as a tag team, and I'm ready for that to happen again. But yeah, Ivar's been
kind
of crushing it.
Like if Bronson Reed can be in this, like and JD
McDonough's
like why? Whatever. Who cares?
But apparently JD McDonough, I mean, he did give a great pitch off camera.
Yeah. So good that they went to a probably Nestea commercial instead. Do you even make Nestea anymore?
Speaking of, I actually had a commercial. No, Pizza the Hut is fucking stupid.
From Spaceballs?
It's their Pizza Hut's current commercial thing that they have rolling, and it's raw, so it runs a billion times. I think it's Pizza Hut.
Do they know they're ripping off Spaceballs?
No, it doesn't seem self-aware or anything. It's just I was very annoyed at this point. So I was
Pizza the Hut.
Bitching about.
You're delicious.
Okay, yeah, Drew versus Jay.
Yeet.
Okay, notes for Drew versus Jay. Whatever.
Okay.
Drew, great selling that god awful super kick of Jay's.
Yeah.
I hope the feed goes out for Jimmy versus Jay in their 2.5-star impending WrestleMania match, so that we don't have to watch it.
We should do an over/under on how many super kicks they're going to throw in that match. Yeah.
Bad ones, too.
Yeah. I did. So, again, I didn't watch this, all the way through, but I wanted to see the finish, and I got to a point where it like wouldn't let me fast forward 10 more seconds. So like it just locked.
So you had to kill yourself.
So it locked on the end of the match. So I did see that Jimmy and Solo cost Jay the match, I guess.
Sure.
But they're doing.
Yeah, I'm joking. I did see this.
Like they're doing a cool thing where Drew is taking anything he can get win wise. So like anytime the Bloodline interferes, Drew's just
the
like
most consistent dude.
Like he just picks the bones of whoever he's fighting. And yeah, it's gonna be Jay and Jimmy at WrestleMania. So that was Raw. That was great. It's a great show. I am so full of vegetables right now.
We're ready for
I want a
cheesecake?
big bowl of
triple scoop.
Oh God, please, please.
Chocolate peanut butter ice cream.
So all things considered, before we get to AEW Dynamite,
the show for people that enjoy wrestling,
it was unreasonably good.
It was. I like the first thing. I have like some big problems with.
Yeah,
but they're kind of personal, like bugaboos.
Oh, like all of mine?
Yeah, I mean, I guess our podcast could be called Personal Bugaboos.
Yes.
But
Booth Under Bugaboos?
Yeah, I did like there were a couple things in the first hour and then like a very specific thing about the first segment here that I really, really didn't like. But then once it got going, like it was as good as anything they've done.
But before we get to that, my last overarching thing with WWE, hurry the fuck up. I know like you feel like you have a lot of time, but like hurry up and build stories like that aren't built yet, because
also when you're building those stories, it makes it more interesting for the viewer.
Yes.
It
makes your show palatable.
like
poor Drew McIntyre, like he's got a world title match. When's the last time he interacted with the goddamn world champion?
Absolutely.
Like in a meaningful way?
I mean, like, and I joke a lot, but like about how terrible it is, but really, that's the reason. Like, yeah, the production's awful. I hate the way they set up commercials, and I hate the way that WWE runs most of their matches. Yeah. But like, the real thing that makes Raw feel so awful is that they're not. You start the show and the show ends, and nothing really changed on most of these episodes.
Which is
if you do something at least like I'd be kind of interesting, and it won't feel like 3 hours of torture.
So take the little things on Raw that we did like. We talked a lot about the Liv Morgan thing because we like Liv Morgan, and we like she's actually
you have to grab onto the one little story that they're doing.
And like what else on that show?
Yeah, the Gunther thing was my favorite thing, but that was just Gunther being awesome in a squash.
Yeah, like they're both good workers. They told a good story in the ring. But that's a 3-hour television show.
Yeah, it is.
And we just highlighted less than a half hour of content.
They did an entire segment that was 2 video packages and Andrade's entrance.
Yeah. I actually want to watch that match now because I really like Andrade.
I did. This was pretty egregious.
All right. We'll take a peek at it. We'll take a peek. Let's light the fuse.
No.
Let's not light the fuse.
We don't light the fuse anymore. We got a new intro song.
We can't light the fuse. The boom is gone.
I don't know what the lyrics are, but I made a note that like, I see that they're. I dig it.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a while for me. To me, I a lot of nostalgia for Light the Fuse, so it'll take a minute. But I do think it's a good intro.
Well, like 5 years they've had that.
How long? The whole time. I think.
Dynamite's what, 2019?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My note on the new song. I'm sorry. My note on the new song
How
was.
Dare you?
It seems like they're taking advantage of the current spike in like the popularity of nu metal. It's got a little bit of that flavor to it. No joking. It is hitting like there's a little bit of a thing happening, with the nu metal and the young people.
Absolutely.
The young.
Well, I mean, Limp Bizkit is back very hard.
And I know Slipknot is like all over fucking TikTok now, which is really weird for me.
They're very good live.
I like Slipknot quite a bit. It's weird that they're now like a pretty like legitimately hardcore. Like I know that they're the hardcore people consider them like pop hardcore or whatever,
like
but pretty seriously hardcore. Is like trending on TikTok every day with the
that's cool
14-year-old girls.
They're a great band, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my note for the new intro was it has the vibes of the old Monday Night Raw themes, the Nickelback one, the Burn It to the Ground, and then the Union Underground Across the Nation.
I can see
like if you nu metal, like you said it concisely, but like it's touching on. Maybe that was on purpose. Maybe they're like they know who their fan base is. They know the age. They know we're going to get
it to us. It's
also
like
the new logo.
Dudes.
The new logo has whiffs of the rebranded Detroit Pistons logo.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
They're doing the Apple thing to make everything. I like it too, but they simplify, clean, two-color,
yes.
The opposite of like what most wrestling stuff generally is.
Yeah.
So it's cool. Looks good on the microphone.
I like it. The double tunnel's back.
I love that.
Yeah.
They already are using the double tunnel to do story beats and stuff too, which I love it. All the nerdy little.
I was
details.
thinking about. I remember hearing when Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff went to TNA, and they were the sole reason that the 6-sided ring went away. And they were
that
like,
everybody loved.
That everybody
the
loved.
One thing that made them stand
out.
out.
And the second that they were gone, they brought back the 6-sided ring. So I will follow this man into battle.
Punk. Yeah, I had the same thought.
I think CM Punk did a lot of damage at that place.
I kind of think 2023 was his fault. Not because of the fight or anything.
But like
what he did while he was actually working.
But he was also like heavily like in Tony's ear.
That's what I mean.
For certain
I think
things.
all of those bad decisions are like
and like it's not the more this goes on and the more I see like how like France is rebuilding after the war like kind of thing, like, and they're making beautiful architecture. I think they should have. That would have been a great what if. What if Punk went to AEW?
Absolutely.
He never
Alternate
did.
Universe.
He never did. It's
story.
like, what if the Undertaker and Sting fought? Like, how great would it have been? And I'm almost glad it didn't happen because sometimes those are just a bit. Like, look at the Invasion.
Yeah.
Like
Goldberg Undertaker.
Exactly. So like, the whole time.
I think you're right. I don't think it was malicious, but
No.
I think his sensibility for like what a TV program should be was way too WWE'd.
Yes.
At that point, and then he was like influencing his mega super fan Tony Khan. And now he's just like, oh shit, I need to go back to all the stuff that made this awesome in 2019.
Right,
and
right. But even look at like what he was doing with the 6-man stuff. And granted, they were pushing 6-man stuff very hard, but like he was tying up FTR.
Yes.
And now like they're like back in a program and it feels correct. So like, yeah, he's perfect and
I love him as a performer.
But like,
absolutely.
he's where he needs to be.
Yes.
And I think.
By the way, did you see Jack Perry joining Evil's big stable in NJPW?
I don't know who that stable is, but I did see that he threw out a Cry Me the River line.
But they were offshoot from
Who's
Naito.
I know Naito. Is he the guy with the eyeball?
Yeah, he's the Evil broke off from him after like they were together.
Who's Evil?
He's like he's a wrestler. He's just
his name is Evil.
Upper mid card dude. Yeah, his name is Evil. He's got like a really good look. He's like stocky built, like powerhouse kind of guy. But he runs that stable, and now Jack Perry's in it. Looks like Jack Perry's kind of the leader. The way that they're framing things, and he just looks cool. It's great. I digress, and I'm not to.
No, it's
not to go far off, but it does tie into what we were just talking about.
Okay. So he hasn't been on TV in 6 months in AEW.
Yeah, he talks about that at length in his promo.
Oh, for real?
Promo he just did. Yeah.
So is he still like suspended, or they just don't have anything for him? Or
the story that he's full time in NJPW. I don't know if they're behaving as if it's an excursion.
Yeah,
I do honestly wonder if maybe it is like like an offering because AEW is like pilfered every one of their now they're Hulk Hogan. Like this is AEW taking Okada's like that's like pulling Hogan out in '88.
They also just got Ospreay.
Like, exactly.
Yeah,
and Jay White before that too. Those were all their top guys.
Yeah.
So it might just be okay, we can get a good story out of this, and Jack Perry can go learn how to cut a promo, which he has clearly been working on from what I've seen. And it's a super interesting story now. He like goes into like, I tried. You wouldn't even let me quit when I asked for my release. Like, fuck you. Like, and you could swear at stuff on NJPW because it's Japan. I don't care if you swear in English.
Right.
So we get to be a little grittier, and it's all great. And I don't know if it was like I don't think it was like as a punishment. I think it's like I needed to suspend you, him. And now we can make something out of it. We can make something cool out of it.
So it's not like
it's the best possible thing. I think when he comes back, it's going to be a big goddamn deal now.
Oh, massively!
It was already going to be a big deal, and now it's even going to be bigger.
And I'm almost like, dude, in hindsight, the more time goes by, and to see like how the dust has settled, I'm so glad Jack Perry just made CM Punk get fired.
Oh, he saved the company. Saved the company. Probably made his own career, honestly, because the work he's getting in Japan already is paying huge dividends.
Well, like we said before, you go to Japan, like take Juice Robinson, whoever the hell he was when he was that hippie in NXT, and like he goes to
Yeah.
New Japan and he becomes fucking great.
It becomes juice.
Yeah. So, but
But
so,
I think you're right. I think that was the best thing that could have happened was
Yeah.
what Jack Perry did. Plus, now we get a bunch of glass spots out of it.
I think I was more concerned that CM Punk was gone forever again, and I feel
absolutely.
like I need him.
100%.
I need him.
I'm with you.
I was listening to like his old
am
Colt Cabana podcast.
dying for CM Punk to show up on
Yeah.
Raw. I don't care if he can wrestle. I
Right.
just need somebody
Who can
besides
talk
Drew
and
who
be
can
compelling?
be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he does that better than anybody. So like,
Yeah.
I love him in that way. But we know what he is
Oh.
as a human being, like as a person.
Yeah.
The stories about him are the same from Ring of Honor in 2004
Yeah.
as they are now, as they
when
were
they're
in WWE.
When there's
Like,
smoke, there's fire.
Yeah, it's the
Did
same
you
thing.
see that they're? I don't know who did it, but some online betting company put out odds to see if CM Punk will be fired in 2024.
No, but
And no is at negative 200, and yes is at plus 150.
I don't think he's out. I got bummed out when I saw this, but like last week he mentioned 8 months still. Hopefully that's a work. And like, but like if he's out for that long, then I don't think he has time to do his thing.
Well, he's going to be at Mania because they announced the WWE World.
They have to.
They announced meet
have
and
him
greets.
there, at
Like
least.
there's,
Yeah.
it's like a ticketed
I
event.
hope they give him something substantial to do.
I hope he's a
the
special
most
guest referee.
interesting person on the roster.
Yeah, because he has beef with both Seth and Drew,
Yeah.
and I think that would be a very interesting
Drew,
thing
man,
for
Drew
him to do.
can't. He won't be able to survive a Punk feud after the beating he's taken on this one.
Yeah,
It's you follow
No,
up
you're not
with
wrong.
the best talker in the business.
you're not wrong.
Dynamite new sets. I like the color scheme.
Yeah,
It does look like NXT 2.0, but
Yeah.
that's okay because NXT 2.0 was a rip off of original Dynamite.
yeah. That's fair. Well,
and
all
this
the color
looks-
splatters. And
Yeah, it's the
everything?
same. It's really they're chasing the original Dynamite look that they had. They're going back to the original look. It just happened to be that 2.0 ripped that off and made it
Right.
worse because it was with the too many LEDs. Which again, I think you're right. I think it was a Punk influence. Tony Khan doing the million LEDs on that last makeover was kind of trash. I was like, when it happened, I was like, oh, yeah, I'll get used to it. And it was trash. I should have recognized that it was trash. This new set, or return to the old set, kind of, but with like a kind of a cool update on it, just feels so much more AEW.
Yeah.
The big change that is not really tied to anything I love is the white ropes. I really like the white ring ropes.
Yeah.
I think it like makes it pop a little bit more on TV.
What were they, black before?
Yeah, Black
Yeah.
Forever. They tried to do a multicolor, like a red, white, and blue, I think. When
Oh,
they
yes,
did the
yes, yes.
first, and then everybody was like, fuck this. And so they got rid of those after like a week.
Yeah. Well, that was after they rebranded. Yeah, I remember that.
But I like the white looks great. I like the color scheme. I like the logo. Like, the logo's not amazing, but I like clean logos.
Yeah.
Like pretty happy with the general the season premiere. They were pushing this as the season premiere. I didn't realize that until after I watched the show. But like,
Yeah.
it very much felt like a season premiere, not just because of the physical changes to the set, which I always appreciate in wrestling these days. Actual physical change to a set, not just a LED that shows me a different thing.
Yeah.
I was hoping for guardrails back, but I bet you my guess was that is that's like a network thing, TV thing, because it is safe.
Well, they
to
have
have
the LED
LEDs.
screen, yeah.
Yeah, but like I think
It looks so much better on TV.
it looks better for what it like for like SmackDown or whatever. It fits that perfectly, and
Yeah.
it looks great. And it looks better, as in like it looks more expensive. But I think the guardrails fit AEW a little bit better because they got a little bit of that ECW like stamped on them. I think that's a personal thing. I absolutely understand why people would want to do the LEDs.
Yeah.
And people at the top too, like saying no, do the LEDs.
It's for television.
I'm
It's
just
a
talking
significantly better presentation.
like nitpicky stuff that I personally I like I like the clang of guardrails when you get thrown into the guardrail.
Yeah.
Like I like the way it looks. Feels like a wrestling show to me.
Yeah.
When there's guardrails there.
Stick your hands down.
But that's like the aesthetically. That's really my only thing that I would change.
I loved
think.
it from top to bottom.
Looked great.
Yeah.
The show kicked off with my least favorite thing on this show this week. It was an impromptu. It was a promo train that led to an impromptu match with a not really much of a finish.
Very WWE booking.
It was none of it. I got fired up when we show opened. I'm like, oh, the stuff looks great.
Yeah.
Promo train. Oh Jesus. Yeah. Impromptu match. Oh yeah. Why do they have their gear? What were they gonna do? What were they planning on doing? Why are they in their gear? And then it's an impromptu so Swerve comes out and is cutting the straightest babyface promo he's ever cut. We talked about it earlier, but or maybe on the other podcast, go listen to it if you haven't yet. The pay-per-view special for Revolution going out the same time as this. Swerve cuts a promo where he evidently repeats what Darby did in a promo earlier, but it's straight babyface. He does the kind of sheepishly, yeah, maybe this is karma because I've done some kind of rough things in the past. It's him acknowledging for the first time that he feels bad for the bad things that he's done, and then he does the super babyface thing. He promises a victory, which that means he's gonna get it, and it's a very much a babyface thing. That historically, the faces always do promise the fans the thing, and then they pull it off or they turn heel.
Right. He said a bunch of stuff like you just said, but then he said nothing changes from this point on, which completely omitted the first chunk of his entire promo.
It was his promo was I liked some stuff he said. I liked the baby faceness of it, and I liked some stuff that he said towards the end of it, individual, but on a whole it was a little uneven. And I was very upset just by the way that I could see this was going. I'm like, why is Swerve wearing his wrestling tights?
Right. And plus it was a promo train, which we already soured.
Led to my other worst thing is the impromptu match. That doesn't make any sense because what was booked to lead the show off?
Teddy Long apparently took care of business. He had a line, which again, think about what you're going to say, because this happened again on the show, but it's one sentence negates the next sentence. Yeah. Swerve says, whether you're talking to Smojo, whether you're still holding that world championship or not, I'm coming for you.
I'm coming for the championship.
But then he says, I'm coming to defeat you for that AEW world championship. Yeah. That I promise.
Just said it didn't matter. Same thing.
What is it? Are you going after Joe or are you going after the title?
This segment just felt like it was if they
I don't like sad Swerve
something, and I thought he did the I did some effed up stuff kind of thing. And he can do the banter thing because he does it with Cole, and I like it.
Yeah, that was great.
So I don't mind the babyface stuff, but it felt like they threw these guys out there. Then Joe comes out, and then Cole and all of the Kingdom. I do like Undisputed Kingdom right up until what happens here, which is another awful thing for this segment. The Undisputed Kingdom looks really strong now compared to how they looked, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
They undermine that in a big way with the end of the segment. But I don't even remember what Joe was saying. Joe stuff. He's Joe. He's taunting
his win. That's pretty much it. Yeah. He's saying we're in Swerve's house, but it's Joe's world. And then Swerve proposes that they have a world title match. Right. No.
Which would have been much better than what happened.
Oh God, would it have ever?
When Cole comes out, I enjoyed this part quite a bit because Swerve tells Adam Cole that he's out there with the entire faction, and Swerve says, calls him Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget, and then my favorite thing, he insinuated that he banged his wife.
He said, if you need new clients, I got Britt Baker's second phone number in my pocket right now.
Yeah, I popped for that. And Cole, after he said that, Adam Cole has the best, what the fuck did you just say to me, face in all of wrestling.
Yeah.
He did his, he pulls that face and it's oh, that's awesome. But then the impromptu match that they booked, because Tony Khan was on the horn to Shivani. I don't know.
Yeah, Shivani was in the ring.
I was angry at this. The match they booked was Joe and Swerve tagging together, so it's also not just a promo train, not just an impromptu match. It's a can they coexist tag team.
Yeah,
which turned out to be, to tell the story they were going to tell. It turned out Swerve in a handicap match because they couldn't coexist, so Swerve just wanted to work the match himself. So when he got tagged in, which was kind of against Joe's will too, I'm fine with that. They hate each other, but then Swerve squashed the team that you just tagged. It's the Kingdom,
Yeah.
the Ring of Honor
Tag team champions. Who Adam Cole said was the most dominant tag team.
Squashed him by himself.
Yeah, by himself.
So that's how that ended. And then Joe choked out Swerve, which fine. He threw with that.
Yeah.
They caught some shit for it from the fan base, so I don't think I have to worry about that shit happening again. But it's weird that apparently they brought Vince McMahon in to book this because this was like the worst Vince level booking.
The story in the match I didn't really mind.
But the guys they're all great. It's all booking on this one. It's like every decision.
What I got out of it was Joe wanted to take the match. Swerve tagged in without Joe wanting to be tagged in.
Yeah.
And then Joe was like not having a great time. Like he was getting beat down pretty bad during the match. And then Swerve came in and fucking handled it like nothing.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of like, oh, I just emasculated the champ. Look, I can fucking get you if it's one-on-one kind of thing because I can do what you can't do, which is take down these two guys by myself.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I love the rest of the show. Just not going to be negative Nancy. This is a great episode.
I'll be the negative.
But I really hated this segment.
Yeah.
Like I hated it almost as much as I adored most of this, especially the second hour of this show.
Right.
But this was not a great way to start your season premiere with like an absolutely Vince McMahon segment.
We did skip over something when Adam Cole came out. He said that he's surrounded by. Look who he's surrounded by. Roderick Strong is the new international champion. Mm-hmm. You got the most dominant tag team champions in Ring of Honor history with Taven and Bennett. And then he eventually gets over to Wardlow and said that he won the opportunity to challenge for the AEW World Championship, which he is invoking next week at
big week of television for them next week.
Big
business.
Big business. So the first match that they announced for the big business card next week is Samoa Joe versus Wardlow for the AEW World Championship. There has to be shenanigans to get out of that. Wardlow's too goddamn strong right now.
Yeah, they don't do shenanigans very often.
They have to here
twice in the last 2.5 years.
They can't neuter this fucking guy again.
You can beat a guy without neutering him.
But
is Takeshita neutered?
No, but Takeshita hasn't had 3 false starts.
If you have a great match, if Wardlow has a great match against Samoa Joe, it will be his first great match I've ever seen. If he loses in a great match, that does more for him than even winning a match would. Especially with the AEW faithful.
I'm just so concerned for him because we wrote him off so hard, and then like they're building him back up, and he's actually good again.
Good and bad way to do everything. Like that first segment was garbage. He can lose the match and still come out better than he went in. It's hard. It's harder to do that.
Yeah.
But if you want to be great, you do the hard thing. So like, I don't want to schmaz.
I would love a schmaz because I want Wardlow staying strong. That's all.
I would rather see a great performance from him.
Yes.
It would go further, like, for him
yes.
and for the story and for the show and for everything.
Yeah.
To do, like, a great showing, like an actual like, awesome match that people get super fired up and into. And even if Joe, like, just catches him in a choke. Like, he does that. He's Joe. So he just did the Hangman Page. He's done it, did it to Swerve at the open of the show.
Because he's like...
It's an MJF.
But he's Adam Cole's proxy, like, or he's his avatar, I should say, for being
Both
world...
were correct, I think.
Yeah? So, like, I don't know, I think you need to keep Wardlow, like, super shredder strong here.
I don't necessarily, I like it about the way that they generally book in AEW. I don't equate strong to like undefeated.
No, I'm not saying undefeated, but just like not beaten. That's why I want to. That's why I want a schmaz finish. That's just me. So we'll see. I mean, they might do something weird like
they almost never do the schmaz thing. It's like they did it with the Christian match, and then they did it like a year and a half before that, and I can't think of another one.
But like also the Undisputed Kingdom doesn't come to the ring. They didn't come to the ring for Roderick Strong, so they're probably not going to come to the ring.
I don't mind if it's like interference that backfires. That's not a schmaz necessarily. I just no like DQ, none of that nonsense. No contest nonsense.
If they're consistent with how they present that group, no one will be at ringside. Yeah, he's going to lose, isn't he? He's going to get choked out.
I mean, he should. Joe's better than Wardlow. What Wardlow needs to do is take advantage of the lots of eyes and this great opportunity he has.
Yeah.
And have a really great showing between the ropes next Wednesday.
Yeah. No, I'm not.
That's what has to happen.
I'm not disputing that. It's like
he needs to grab the brass ring.
Yeah.
This is his third opportunity towards the top of the card.
Right. Which is why I don't want him losing.
And he farted the first two away.
Yeah, but then they booked him in.
Yeah, because he was already lost all the heat.
Right.
It's on Wardlow. And he's getting another great opportunity here. Even if he's not booked to win the match, he's got an awesome chance to have a lot of eyes on him.
Or maybe Swerve can cost it, or something.
I mean, I think all of those guys, the people you're mentioning, are probably going to be involved in one way or another.
Yeah.
I no DQs, no schmazzy, no contest, just because it doesn't work with this program.
We'll see. We'll see.
But Renee? I think Joe's going to win.
Yeah. Well, of course.
I just hope Wardlow, because after the promo, man, you got me believing.
Yeah.
Now show me you can do it between the ropes.
Yes, 100%. Renee was talking Hook next.
I like the direction they're going with the Hook thing.
Yeah.
So, I mentioned this on the other podcast. Go listen after you listen to this one on the pay-per-view podcast. I have to give, I think, and I haven't heard anybody else talk about this, so maybe I'm crazy, but I really think this is what they're doing. I have to give Chris Jericho credit for something we busted his balls on a couple of weeks ago. Remember when Jericho, like a rando, got booked, or I guess it was last week, Dynamite. It just feels like a long time ago because we had Revolution in between, and that was eventful. Listen to the podcast. When we were giving Jericho shit for, I forgot his name a bunch of times on that podcast too. The father son.
Pentagon Jr. No.
It's Atlantis.
Atlantis Jr.
Atlantis and Atlantis Jr. So we're reviewing that match. I was like, okay, it's fine. You're doing they're trying to tell the story where Atlantis Jr. is like a young dude who just won't give up despite the odds, and his dad threw the towel in, and that's a cool spot, but it doesn't make sense because you didn't show us that Atlantis Jr. is that upstart, that guy that just won't give up.
Yeah.
You know who is? And
Hook.
It was proved by on the pay-per-view, on the Samoa Joe match prior to it, and then very much so on this show here.
Yeah.
Hook is that guy. Where's Hook's dad? Is he around? Is he on TV?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're doing. I think they were doing a foreshadowing of what Chris Jericho, because, spoiler, Jericho interjected himself into Hook's backstage segment to Jericho the hell out of all of it.
Yeah.
And just cloud vampire, poor Hook. I feel like Jericho when... if you're the last guy that notices him walking into the locker room and you everybody else scatters and you're looking around, I don't know, there's nowhere to go, everybody else is hidden already, and he tags you, that's it. That's how you get now you're stuck with the Jericho 6 month. And that's what Hook has. But I think that's what they're doing, because they really pushed that story with Hook.
Sense.
And they have been for a couple of months now.
Yeah.
And that really was, remember how bizarre it felt for them to book that in that specific a way? And now we have that exact thing. Taz just watched, well, we'll get to the match, but this segment was dumb and I hated it because I hadn't thought of the Atlantis thing yet. Yeah. I still hate it, but
just his verbiage.
I do think there's a chance that there could be
everything you're
there.
saying makes sense. It's kind of like the epiphany that you shared about Daddy Magic being Daddy, right?
Magic,
so I don't even think AEW caught that. They were doing that. But
I still think they're doing.
You
see the Daddy Magic backstage promo after he got the ass whipped? It's great.
Is it good? Yeah. Where was that, on the YouTubes?
Yeah. I love those backstage.
Yeah, segments. They're good. Put them on TV.
Yeah,
but
not a lot of room, but I would love to see those on TV.
Yeah, that's fair. So in a nutshell, Jericho comes back, interrupts Hook, and says, Taz dropped Chris Jericho on his head back in the ECW days. This is his first match as the Lionheart in the U.S. was against Taz at the ECW arena.
Jericho has some kind of in with every single wrestler on Earth.
Aabsolutely.
He's been long in so many places that there's always something.
Yeah, 6 degrees of Chris Jericho. He said because he got dumped on his head, it made him feel he always had a connection with Taz. And because because Hook dropped him on his head at Revolution, now he feels that same connection to Hook. And he never respected Hook until he dropped him on his head. So he thinks Hook is the real deal because he dropped him on his head. And then they fist bump, and Hook says bet, and they walk away.
Yeah. I feel bad for Hook, but at least maybe there's a chance that there's a pretty good story going there. I really like the direction they're going with Hook, especially in the match that followed here.
Yeah. I like it's weird that he's not showing the similar love to Action Andretti, who beat him.
Yeah.
Or any like just
he discovered.
Yeah. And he put over clean as a whistle.
Plus, Action Andretti's like super low on the card. That's a guy you might actually be able to help. He's not going to help you, but you can help him.
Yes.
Hook, probably not going to help too much.
Not at all.
He can help you.
So,
he's a very popular wrestler.
They're going to be in the tag team tournament for sure.
Probably.
Because Chris Jericho tried to be in a tag team with Kenny Omega. That didn't work out.
Yeah.
And he tried to be in a tag team with Sammy Guevara, and Sammy Guevara got suspended, which I don't... Oh, I mentioned this. Let me get this out of the way. I don't think Sammy Guevara is at fault here.
Well, you know my thoughts. I think the initial injury, but I don't think that's why he got suspended.
No, he got suspended because he finished. Because he did the finisher.
Yeah.
But it's also not up to him to decide
to go home.
It's up to the officials to say, "Hey, stop the match."
Yeah.
So I think he's a little scapegoaty here.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Like I do that. I remember when we talked about it. I was like, I think the actual injury was probably Jeff Hardy, but it did feel like weird that he did that.
Yeah.
But you're right. It is on the ref.
That's
their job generally. John Moxley went fucking apeshit when Rick Knox let him continue with a very obvious concussion.
Absolutely.
That's Rick Knox's job.
Yes, it's Rick Knox's job. Yes, and it's the performer's job to not stop.
Yeah. No,
right?
That's what they always train these guys to do is keep going.
So,
sometimes you'll see him make a split second. He's young though, but veteran guys make a split second decision to do a small package or something.
Absolutely.
That's not impactful. Mm-hmm. And GTH was brutal with his blood going everywhere.
It was the worst thing.
It was
the
worst possible thing you could do.
Yeah.
But I think that is what the suspension is for. And you're right. In that instant, it was. I should have been on the ref, I think.
Yeah.
Unless the ref said something and Sammy ignored him or didn't hear him.
Also fair.
He might have said it. Sammy wasn't paying attention, which he should have.
Or maybe he said go home, and Sammy just okay, I'm gonna go home.
The finish.
I'm gonna do the finish,
the scheduled finish.
Yeah. So that's that. Had to get that in there.
Yeah. That is what it is.
Oh, here I wrote this as a note. In less than 25 minutes of this show, we have a new intro, a new set. 3 intros of wrestlers. They set up 3 matches. They teased a 4th. They had a full tag match with a commercial break.
Absolutely. That's
about fucking I know it's not brevity.
It's not quite as streamlined as the market leader WWE is with 2 video packages and an entrance being the entire segment on one of your shows.
Yeah.
But they're getting there.
Yeah.
By the end of this show this week, I think they had 6 or 7 matches that I could already see in the works for the next pay-per-view.
Right.
So, great.
Oh, man, one of them. Whoo, doggy. They recapped the world title match next.
Oh, that's right.
Then they say, what's next for Hangman?
I liked the recaps. They were quick, concise. They had a bunch of them, but it didn't feel like any of them, it took away from the show because they got their point across real fast.
Right. Yeah. So that was, just what's next for Hangman. And then it threw it to the EVPs backstage.
The EVPs, who are doing their pitch perfect Tony Khan impersonation. They did blink, so I'm going to deduct points for that, but everything else was absolutely spot on.
Yeah,
they're announcing from the backstage, with a lot of vigor and doing exactly Tony Khan's dead-eye weird cadence, that they have 2 huge announcements for later in the show. But they're going to do that, live in the program. So, what was the phrase they used specifically? I know I wrote it down here somewhere, but I lost it.
Matt stops Nick before he says it, and they say they'll make the announcement in the ring later tonight.
But they do a very specific Tony Khanism. It was we're going to have a great show. He's the huge. They emphasized the huge announcement. It was a opportunity for them to do a funny Tony Khan match. That was, and I liked it.
Yeah,
it fits the character thing. The Bucks are great.
Next match is presented by Woo Energy Drink.
To
be the man, you need a can.
I feel bad for Excalibur every time he has to read that ad copy for an energy drink that you can only buy from their rinky-dink ass website.
Right, which I think Ric Flair's paying to have on the show.
I want to know how much he's paying, because I can't imagine they're selling a ton of Woo Energy from wooenergy.com.
No, not at all.
If you can't get it on Amazon, Don't.
Yeah.
It's not worth advertising.
Yeah,
it.
if you have to pay extra for shipping.
I think so.
You have to.
The website is garbage. And
Here we go.
I looked there very briefly on.
I'm Googling it right now.
It's not on Amazon. I checked Instacart. 70 stores in my area. None of them carry Woo Energy. So I think it's only that website.
So it's WOOOOO.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Energy.com.
Count a bunch of goddamn O's in small type.
It's 5 O's. Oh, this site's garbage.
Yeah.
Shop.
But if you want to be the man.
Let's see how much it costs to be the man. A 6-pack of this is $19.99.
That's far too
a
expensive.
6-pack. You can get it in dragon fruit.
Maybe there is rum
or
in it or
strawberry
something.
banana. Let's see if I'm gonna. So it's $19.99 for a 6-pack. How much caffeine's in here? 150 milligrams of caffeine. That ain't bad. So we're gonna add to a cart.
Yeah, but you can like
check
buy a box of powdered caffeine for like $12 if
Yeah.
you really want. My Water Joe that I get from Meyer has got like her Meyer over by there has got like 200 milligrams. That's 200. I don't want to pay $19.99 for a 6-pack of 150s.
I'm drinking a Celsius. This has 200. They're at Costco.
Yeah,
They're very cheap.
And I'm sure both my Water Joe and your Costco
$6.
Woo.
$6 shipping.
Woo woo woo.
So it'll be $26 all day for me to get 6 of these cans.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
You know who's getting those? The Jared Cruz guys.
Of course they are.
That's who's getting those.
Yeah.
Buying by the case.
They're getting dragon fruit.
Yeah. Dragon fruits.
That's one of them.
That's almost more offensive that like you went with like the
Dragon fruit, lemon, and strawberry
just
banana.
make it cherry, grape, orange because it's fucking wrestling energy drink.
Or
Don't.
yeah.
I don't want dragon fruit. I don't want to hear star fruit.
No.
I don't want to hear like even mango is probably pushing it.
Right.
Know who you're selling to.
Absolutely.
It's grape. Make it grape pop. Make it grape. You can mark it up like you did, 3 times because it's a wrestling merch
$26
thing.
for 6
It's
cans.
wrestling merch, really. It's people that are buying it for
It's
the
$4.50
the
a can.
Yeah.
Which is like gas station price. It's actually not terrible.
It's terrible when you have to have it delivered to your house and it takes 2 weeks and you got to pay for
I'm
shipping.
tired right now.
Yeah, I know. It was
Did you know
it's
that
easier to record a podcast
Yeah,
than
no
it is to
shit,
order
right?
Woo Energy.
I can go down the street and get a Celsius, which more caffeine for cheaper. Did you know that Hook has held the FTW title for a combined 549 days over 2 reigns?
Did they say that?
Yeah.
I didn't. I missed that. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So, in reference to that, the FTW championship, I think, was on the line, right? Because there's FTW rules.
Yes.
Brian Cage, looking swole as always.
I
Against
hated his gear this week.
Yeah, it was not
Hated
as.
it.
Once you see him in the Stinger stuff, it really like
Less is
he
more.
needs to be doing that.
Less is more, Mr. Cage.
Yeah. But still, I still think he's like, and showed it here too, incredibly valuable member of the roster.
Oh, this match was fun as shit.
It's a great match.
Yeah.
Hook again, striking looks great.
Yeah.
Brian Cage always has like fun spots. He looked like a beast. Cage was like kind of had the his hardcore rules really is FTW rules, but Cage kind of had the advantage obviously because he's a giant monstrous man and Hook is like a little 20-year-old 160-pound.
Right.
He's great, but like the visual is okay. This guy's a monster. He's going to kill Hook, which is kind of the way that the match was going. And because it was a hardcore match, they did the tack spot. Unless you had any spots you want to talk about.
No.
Hook got him in the red rum, and Cage did the kind of classic thumbtack spot where he just falls on his back. It's like the Mick Foley Vader spot so Hook's back goes into the thumbtacks, but because he's the story he's got going right now is he's undersized, but he just will not quit. So he hung on to the choke and despite being smashed in the tacks, he clearly was like feeling the pain of it. He sold it, but he was fighting through the pain, which is what got him the victory here, and also what made me realize that I think that's what they were doing with Atlantis Senior when it felt nonsensical.
Yeah. Shockingly few tacks stuck to either of them when they both fell in them respectively. I noticed that
He had
it was like 1 or 2.
They usually a ton of tacks don't unless you have clothes on.
Remember when Randy Orton did
But
it?
they were actual tacks. Because they had Hook pulled like 3 out from behind his shoulder.
Yeah, but like not nearly as many as I was expecting to see.
Honestly, I don't hate it. I just saw Darby Allin cheese grater is back.
Yeah,
I'm okay. For
we're a little.
minute.
Our senses are a little heightened from that.
I only like death matches when they're really, really outstanding.
Yeah.
Beyond that, you can gimmick stuff, and I don't really care. Like as long as it looks cool. And look, I thought the spot looked pretty cool.
Yeah. No. The match was super fun. It had everything. Fire extinguisher.
You're not giving me a lot on this one, Dave. I can't really tell.
I
dug it.
No, it was a fun hardcore match. They did a bunch of cool shit. They did a spot where Brian Cage was going for a drill claw, and it got reversed into a red rum, which looked awesome.
Yeah, it did.
Taz Plex onto the thumbtacks, which you covered. And then what else?
Shades of Akiyama. Huh?
Yeah. It was just like it was an old school like hardcore match. There was a microphone with a cord, and then Justin Roberts uses a wireless mic, so like that was just there for the match. But then Spear Through the Barricade fought on the ramp. They
I forgot to mention, on a Brian Cage was Dracula. It was my note for his entrance attire. He had like a Dracula cape on. I don't know what that was. He loves cosplay. I know. I don't care. Let him do his thing. That was very ridiculous.
Right. No, the match was good.
Yeah, got me a little bit fired up after
the Gates of Agony.
Rough start.
Gates of Agony came out again. This was my complaint with something else we were talking about earlier. But like, if it's a hardcore match, how come your boys are waiting until the match is over to come out to cause some damage?
Because they like finishes in AEW.
Yeah, but then Jericho runs out with his baseball bat and leaves everybody.
Yeah, at this point, I was like, just feeling super bad for Hook because I hadn't fantasy booked the thing that I had already, so I didn't have anything to grab onto. I hope it's not just gonna put that kid in the Jericho limbo for 6 months.
Of course it is, because how long is this tag team tournament gonna last? Because they haven't even started it yet.
I don't know. I'm exhausted thinking about Jericho sucking another like young popular kid. It's starting to really it's starting to click for Hook too in the ring. Like the all around, I'm really liking it.
Yeah,
don't get sucked into the
he's found his
Sammy Guevara
niche.
spot.
Have you noticed, it's occurring to me right now, no one ever confronts Chris Jericho. He always has to inject himself.
It goes exactly the same every time.
Yeah. And like he just walks in and you're like, oh no.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. Like everybody runs. The last guy standing is like, shit.
Yeah.
Don't look at him. But beyond the Jericho stuff, this kind of turned it around. I found my note. I forgot. It's let's get back to the action. That's what the Bucks when they're doing their.
Tony Khan I see. Okay,
great. It was exactly a Tony Khan.
A fun match that we'll see. Like, I mean, Brian Cage is not going anywhere, so now they're advancing a storyline. Yeah. So that's the second match in a row.
I really hope I'm right about this Norris thing because I'm gonna like gloat my ass off if I'm correct about this one. I made the call on the biggest segment of this show on our text thread. if you were paying attention, so I'm gonna gloat about that one quite a bit. I like being right.
Maybe
it's the worst part of me.
Maybe someone is hacking our text thread.
That's definitely
stealing
possible.
Your ideas,
it's definitely
and passing
possible.
them off.
I mean, I did call the Punk MJF dog collar match like 3 weeks before they announced it. I always gave credit to MJF and Punk in that because they told a wonderfully subtle and beautiful story that built. Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe I'm just a genius.
Yeah. I think you're a genius.
The Atlantis thing is I know that one's a stretch.
We've already acknowledged you as the tribal chief of this household.
I make my wife do it every day.
Good morning, honey. Who?
So
I'm sorry. Who?
Yeah, that's the real life versus expectation versus reality thing. Yeah. It's expectation me making Marisol do the acknowledge me. The reality is me doing acknowledge me at SmackDown in the basement by myself.
In a sea of other people who feel their households are ran exactly the same.
A backstage segment with best friends.
Before that.
I'm terrible with sequencing.
Oh, you're fine. They did the promo for the tag title tournament that's coming up.
Oh, that's right.
And they did this out of order. So there were a couple segments that were they should have been shuffled around. This should have been after Darby Allin came out.
Probably, yeah.
But they did a pre-prepared Pre-prepared?
Yeah, pre-tape.
Pre-taped? Is pre-prepared? Or just prepared?
That is a real word. You're making it not sound like a real word because you keep saying it.
Pre-prepared.
It's like Nick Wayne.
Pre-prepared. Pre-prepared. So they're, so it's a video about that they're doing a tag team title tournament because the tag team titles are vacant or vacated. They don't say why they're vacated, which is why it would have been good to go after Darby because Darby says why he's vacating them.
Which is a good reason. It's
Yeah.
one of the very few good reasons to vacate a title.
100%. And it all made sense. And I'm like, okay, now we're going to have a tournament for that. I also said, does Darby have an opinion? Like, again, just sequencing here would have been good.
It would have made sense.
They highlight a bunch of past champions, FTR, Paige and Omega, the Bucks, Lucha Brothers, The Acclaimed, Keith Lee and Swerve, Sting and Darby. And then Tony Khan's doing the voiceover. Said March 2024 is going to be one of the most important and greatest months in AEW.
It's great.
They didn't announce a tournament. They implied a tournament at this point.
They didn't announce it?
No, I went
back
later
on
but
there are people that are like, we're entering the tournament, but in 20 seconds.
Yeah. But when the rankings came back, they never said when Joe came to the ring the first day the rankings were back.
When he claimed credit for the rankings,
but he never said the rankings were back. Like it just never came, and it was just like Excalibur. No.
Then how did he? I remember him claiming credit for the ranking system.
No, he said it eventually, but like the very first time the first one to say it was Excalibur because he had to like plug in the gaps because Joe just straight up didn't say I'm bringing back the rankings because
because he was doing a promo.
Yeah. So but here too they didn't say there's going to be a tournament. But to your point, the next segment backstage with Renee.
Yeah,
Orange Cassidy and the best friends.
OC and Trent and
This was the other segment where they need to think before they speak.
I actually think this was genius.
Oh,
Trent! If you watch Trent in this segment, he is doing super subtle, awesome, like heel acting here.
Yeah, well, he's
being disingenuous in a way that like is believable that his friend would buy it that he's being genuine here.
Yeah.
He's being a dick. He's going to be a great heel, I think.
Yeah.
He just has kind of dick energy.
Very much so.
And I think it's going to really...
I never wanted to cheer for him.
It's going to be really a good fit for him to like be the guy that breaks up this like still very popular fan favorite faction. And I thought Trent was doing great work here.
You got to give the people what they want.
Yeah.
So Orange Cassidy says he's aiming to fill his backpack with another title, which, I don't know. Like, fine, but like another title? Like, love the thing you just lost kind of thing? I don't know. Like
I didn't hate this. I don't need everybody to have a rematch for
No, I'm not saying that, but just acknowledge that. Okay, I guess I'm done with that. I'm on to this other thing.
Isn't that what he's like? Yeah, I'm bummed that I lost my thing, but now we have another thing.
Yeah, that's fine. He's like one of the guys I'd give a pass on this too.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It was a little clunky. I agree.
Yeah,
but like,
which is fine. But like again, it's Orange Cassidy, so he gets a pass just because that's his character. Chuck Taylor,
silly ass delivery,
says he thinks Trent and Orange Cassidy should enter the tag tournament because he's still injured. And then the very next thing he says, they have their first match on Rampage. Yeah. So like, hey, I think you should enter this. By the way, you're fighting on Rampage.
I didn't get the vibe that Chuck was like announcing it to them. He was saying like to the home audience, I think they would be great, which is why we planned to have a match coming up.
Yeah. It's
it was like the magical fast booking stuff. But
it was
like
fast.
I think they were not implying that like Chuck Taylor was omnipotently announcing this to everyone.
But they
including
also
the people next to him.
So two other things. They did not announce if this is a tournament match, and two, there are no brackets.
Yeah, no.
So we don't know when the thing starts. We don't know who's in it.
I think they're hiding the brackets because I think there's a booking reason for that it's going to be kind of funny. But I don't know. I'm
not putting a lot of stock into this because it just started.
I'm just happy we're getting a tournament for the tag titles with a bunch of awesome tag teams.
I thought the opposite because I can't. This company and their fucking tournaments.
Yeah, because tournaments rule.
When they're done right and not overdone, and they
and the last time they did a tournament was the Continental Classic, which ruled.
Which was a couple months ago.
Yeah, it ruled.
You can't have so many tournaments. It's not a good book.
For me. You can have a tournament every goddamn show.
For me, I think it's a lazy way to get to a conclusion if it's not purposefully built, which is why I would have loved to see some bracketology here.
How is it a vacated title?
Who's
going
fighting
into
for
a
it?
tournament?
Who's fighting for it?
Well, we only know some of the
combatants. I think the best solution
just happened 2 days ago.
The best solution that we had was let the EVPs award it to themselves. No, that would have been.
No.
They need to do something.
I think they're gonna end up with the titles.
They need to do something to get Lava Heat because right now
they're not. They're gonna do it through this tournament,
but they're not like big bads. Like I don't get like.
Oh, dude, they're getting
not,
like Wild Heat.
The fuck
They're
are
awesome.
I didn't say they're not awesome, but they're not like these dastardly bucks. Like
they're dickheads. They're like,
but be a big heel or be smarmy.
I
like,
don't want
and
them
they're
to
really
actually be Vince McMahon though. I
They're
want them to
really
be
good at being smarmy, but they're not good at being like boo the shit out of me for real reasons. Heels.
Smarmy, like
no, that makes me
annoying boss is the character.
Yeah, but it's not like I don't want to see that guy get his ass kicked. I want to not watch that.
You don't
guy.
want to see these bucks get their ass kicked?
No.
I'm like
no.
I love them.
No.
But like they're total dipshits. it's
not,
a different kind of heel. It's not every Samoa Joe, you know.
It's not doing it for me.
Oh, dude.
At all.
Come on.
At all.
You're pushing hard against this.
Not at all. No, I don't.
They're
I think if they're EVPs,
they're crushing it.
They're not doing enough to fuck other people over to be bad guys. Bad guys need to do stuff at the behest of good guys.
An amazing promo in heel character.
They
on this
fired
show.
their friend. But we haven't seen him on TV in a long time anyway, and no one cared. It didn't get a reaction.
We'll get to the Kenny Omega stuff.
Yeah.
The Kenny Omega stuff was goddamn brilliant.
But he hasn't been on TV
that promo
in
was
a while.
Wonderful.
But they were bad guys last time they were all together. Right? Or they were like, that's when they were like the who gives a shit.
It was tweener nonsense. It was garbage. But they've been together for
But Kenny Omega's not like this.
Decade, man.
Yeah, but they've that's fine.
And they didn't just fire their friend. They fired their friend who almost died for not showing up to his dates.
But they never
not the heelest move.
They never said on TV he was sick and that's why he didn't make his dates.
Yeah, but
That's
the idea.
no but. Say
their
it on
characters are aimed at the internet. That is what.
That is not good for television. Then have an internet show.
You knew exactly what they were doing, and so did everyone else watching.
It's not a good television.
If you're doing
angle.
that,
it's just not. It's this goes. I've said 15 times. I don't watch shit on the internet for television storylines.
Yeah, no, I get that, but they didn't forward this on the internet. They just alluded to something that every single AEW fan knows. That Kenny Omega had a serious medical condition, and that's why he's not on TV. Enough people know that you can reference it without saying, here's the medical report of Kenny Omega's diverticulitis that he had. No, you insinuate that it's not a big deal. Which we both liked when Ricky Starks and Big Bill made reference. By the way, they did say that he had diverticulitis on the air because they did in that segment.
Oh, okay. Then remind me.
I just reminded myself. But they did in that segment.
It's just I don't think they're The Rock is a guy in charge that's a complete piece of shit. Yeah, and he's a good heel.
It's a different character though. There's more than one way to skin a cat or to be a heel.
Be a bad guy, but do bad guy stuff. I don't think they're doing enough bad guy stuff. That's all.
They fired their almost died.
Who's not
best
on
friend
TV.
of 20 years?
Yeah, but it's not on TV. People have short-term memories. Kenny Omega's not on TV.
I respect your. They
also fired their friend who's a bad guy, which is not a.
They suspended him notably
without pay.
Without pay from which they're not a paid position.
It was confusing.
It's a joke.
No, it's just not. But that's not bad guy stuff. That's funny stuff.
They're protecting the heel guy and firing the babyface who's.
Okay, I get it.
It's why it was suspended and the without pay thing is just
why is he suspended?
To be a dick move because he assaulted 2 referees, which you should be suspended if you're doing a good job as a true boss.
Yeah.
You would be suspending him from AEW.
Yeah.
They didn't say that though. They suspended from just the elite without pay, but you still gets to stay home and get paid by AEW.
Right.
Kenny Omega, on the other hand, gets fired from the elite. He's they're cutting off ties with this dude that they've been in the trenches with for a decade.
Right.
And also shitting on him for not showing up for his dates. When
no, that
I know
get.
that he's got home almost died.
I guess it's just not for me because I don't feel
the Bucks are always going to be tough. For
I don't
but
feel any
I think
heat.
This is the best work that it's currently my favorite thing they've ever done. Anywhere, and they're not doing a single flip.
Right.
Like Nicholas is becoming like a truly good promo, which I never thought would happen in a million years. And Matthew is like just pitch perfect douchey CEO.
He is
guy.
a douche. I'll give you that.
He's leaning into that. It's what they've always done their entire careers. People give him shit for very specific things, and then they take those things and say, okay, that's what we were not really doing that before. Everyone's, the detractors on the internet say that's what we are. Well, that's what we're going to become. And
right.
They should never be baby faces again.
No.
Because they're great at this thing. Just leaning into
very
a thing.
unlikable.
But this thing, it's like leaning into a thing that they've never really done before. And they're crushing it, man. Like they just are. It's not, I'm okay. I respect if it's not to your taste. I know you have a very specific sensibility about how things should be laid out on a wrestling show. I understand that. Respect it. But I like a lot of variety in character. And I think that like this kind of douchebag is a very good thing to have. It's not...
if it pays off. Like, again, I'm not ignorant to the idea that this is early in something. They just wrapped up a major storyline.
And I do think that we'll get to it. But I do think they're going to end up with the belts. I don't ever want any championship belt in any promotion ever to be given to anybody or just taken ever, because that's Vince Russo.
Well,
shit.
at the very least, they should stack the deck with Jobber, like we were saying.
Yeah,
like
I think it's gonna be
their
I think it's gonna
entire
be the
side.
Outrunners, like in the first week.
It should just be a bunch of guys no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
And everybody else has to fight legitimate tag teams.
Yes,
on the other side.
stack the deck in that way, and then
So
then
like
you can tell us that like we did it the right way, and like meanwhile you're watching and going like, just be the fucking Outrunners.
That
man.
would be good, because again, right, like I just said, this might pay off, but like as of where I'm sitting right now, I'm not loving all the work they're doing. Air quote
you gotta
work.
let the thing happen.
I just said I'm gonna let it. I'm gonna let it happen. Yeah,
or
but
I
like
think let it play out.
Yeah, yeah, I'm fine with that. Once you explain the Kenny Omega and Adam Page thing, that makes sense.
And like
that makes a lot of sense.
And I understand the perspective of like, a lot of the shit they do just in general is pretty inside baseball. Like that's what they're going. That's what they're going for. And I get it. If you don't want to, like, sometimes you don't want to put that much effort into watching. You kind of have to with the Bucks. That's just their
Which
thing.
I'm
they
noticing.
lean hard into the like the nuance, the little stuff that I love. I also understand that there's the double-edged sword there. Like it's nuanced and it's great, and I love picking that stuff out and finding they're laying the story out in a cool way. Yeah. But it's also more work to like, and if you're not really like super feeling it, you're probably not going to be as apt to want to do that shit. Right. So I understand that too. Yeah. Like I get your perspective. Yeah. But it's being booked for me, which makes me very happy.
Well, it's good. I'm glad you're having a great time.
I was throughout this episode. I'll tell you that for a second.
Daddy Magic, Kill Switch.
Yeah.
It was a match.
Yeah.
Switchosaurus. He had his best Attitude Era British Bulldog gear on.
He did.
Which
beat the fucking shit out of Daddy Magic very quickly.
Yeah, it was a massive squash.
The post match backstage promo Daddy Magic cut that they put up on YouTube was wonderful. But it accomplished more than the match did. It was just a straight squash to further the storyline, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And Edge came back.
Yeah, I hope that ends with the Edge heel turn. I'm not interested in seeing Christian Edge fight again.
No, but they're fighting next week.
It's in Toronto. Yeah, I want that to.
So it's what, I Quit match? Why
end with Edge somehow like turning or something different? I just don't want. I'm not interested in like a build towards another. They already had a great one, but like I've seen that.
Why didn't Edge come back at the pay-per-view?
Because you don't want to like make Daniel Garcia look
second
less
fiddle
than. I think it was actually a pretty good veteran move to keep his face because he knows he's a like more recognizable star kind of thing.
Right.
Let the young guy have his glow. He had a great match. He lost, but it was a cheating thing, and he looked fair.
Yeah.
Let him have his moment. But if they're going to do the Edge Christian thing, I'd rather be a different direction than
live in its own realm.
Awesome thing. when Edge was chasing Christian, he ran out into the parking lot.
Yeah.
And just fucking straight up carjacked a dude.
Oh, yeah, Christian carjacked the guy. Yeah.
Christian just ripped a guy out of his SUV and stole his car and drove away.
It's a crime.
It was wonderful.
Committed a crime.
I love Christian so much. That was great.
Also, Edge runs really funny.
He always has.
He's
a strange looking dude.
He's got like Woody from Toy Story like running abilities.
I forgot. During the Switchosaurus Dad Man's match, there was a Wayne's World.
Of course there was.
and
I even wrote it in capital letters.
Top paragraph of notes.
His,
Nick Wayne.
Sully's one of his bulleted points is he wrote Nick Wayne in the style of all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. It's half the page.
I can't get his name out of my head.
Nick Wayne.
Edge does look. He looks like he's gonna go to that place.
I hope so.
It's the worst kind of Edge.
No, it's good.
Look at that place.
At least he's not doing that thing where
that place is a heel.
He rubs his hair.
alongside-
Remember when before he would do the spear, he would rub his hair a lot. No, it's good.
Yeah, it pulls his hair down around his knees.
That's great.
I hope Edge
It's really scary.
Edge is a really good heel.
Yeah,
Always has been. Do that.
Yeah. Don't beat Christian.
I'm
Can you imagine?
I'm glad you did the open challenge thing.
Yeah,
it was cool. Got some cool stuff out of it. Just join the Patriarchs now.
Can you imagine if he wins next week? If Edge wins next week, how mad will you be? I'll be so mad.
I'll be like confused.
Yeah.
I can't like anything that Christian Cage is involved in. I will give it a chance to play out because he nails everything and he lays out all these matches. He's like everything I've heard is that he's the guy behind most of the stories that they do that involve him. So I trust him. Edge is no idiot either. Like I generally think he makes pretty good decisions. I don't like him as much as Christian by any stretch, but I do think he's a pretty smart dude. So I don't think they're just going to do give Edge the TNT title again.
Hope not.
Wouldn't make any sense.
Hope not.
It would be very disappointing.
It would be very disappointing.
But I don't think it's going to happen.
No.
Because I like the guys. Or I think the guys are involved. They're smart enough to know that everybody else, not just us, everybody else is going, oh no. That would be weird and confusing.
Yeah. We don't want that. Kyle O'Reilly.
Oh yeah, I did. I'm sorry. And the one other thing after the carjacking, I like that Edge acknowledged that the cameraman was chasing him. I like when they do stuff like that. Same reason I hate promo trains is when I like stuff like that. Don't be like a disembodied floating camera. Edge
but he also
grabs it,
and then he said, "I know you're going to see this."
Yeah,
which
exactly.
was leaving a voicemail essentially for him.
Yeah, it was great.
Which was
I like that realism stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was it Kyle O'Reilly next?
O'Reilly,
looking like an absolute Beverly dirtbag.
Looks like he's been to 6 Southside Irish parades.
Dude.
You have the same note?
I hope I wrote it down. The line I was gonna use. Oh yeah, here it is. He is afraid Bill away from drunkenly getting arrested for indecent exposure at the Southside Irish Parade.
Which is a Chicago parade where around St. Patrick's Day, the south side of
Dummy
Chicago,
Irish Americans.
It's like the Irish town. Starts drinking before the sun comes up, and it is always a raucous affair. And Kyle O'Reilly looks like he let a float at the parade.
Dirty T-shirts?
Yeah, this is tough.
I mean, it's a look he was going for, I think. And he nailed it.
Yeah.
I understood. Obviously, we both understood exactly what he was going for because we wouldn't have come up with the same.
But his messaging did not match. So he's like,
he did nothing with character yet.
No, I've been gone for nearly 2 years. He's medically cleared. He's very grateful. He doesn't know what path he's going to take. Now that he's got a second chance, he just wants to do it on his own. Why did I guess it's a pay-per-view return, and there's name value there,
and he hasn't seen Roddy in
a
long time.
Hey, and then they get the shirt and you're like, no,
because I think O'Reilly was gone before Roddy came to AEW, so this is the first time he's seen him in several years.
Okay, I'll allow it then.
And he didn't want to join him either in the Kingdom.
I just didn't get why
they didn't really do much with this besides
he looks
set us
sad.
up for an awesome thing. But I think sympathetic. That's the one thing is like I'll give them a vague. Okay, you're a sympathetic babyface.
Yeah.
You haven't they're not doing anything yet with it, but like I think that's what it was there to do, to like signal to the fans, okay, whatever we do, starting next week or whatever, you're coming at this from this guy's like a sympathy. He's not Undisputed Kingdom guy. He's like a dude that you should have sympathy for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which fits the reaction that he got when he came back at the pay-per-view. I would have preferred something story, a little bit, but I think that's all they were going for was like, okay, tell you who he is.
Sad boy Kyle O'Reilly.
And reestablish. I mean, he's been off TV for 2 years.
How many Guinness shirts do you think he owns?
Dude, the Salvador Dali shirt too. It's like that's so on the nose. But it was dirty, right? It was like a big dirt stain.
If it wasn't dirty, it was made to look dirty,
like distressed. Yeah, like intentionally dirty or whatever. Like that. It looked like
he just looked sad,
like Cox hat.
He just looked very sad. They recapped Sting's last match after this before they went into the ring with Mr. Schiavone to introduce Matthew and Nicholas.
Greatest tag
Jackson.
team of all time.
The Legion of Doom?
Matthew and Nicholas. Road Warriors, you fat head.
The Legion of Doom.
It's Vince. Oh, no, they're not the Road Warriors. Yes, they are. Everyone knows the Road
The
Warriors.
Bucks did something really funny in their entrance.
Their new entrance is so wonderful. So, like, they got the tunnels now, and the heel face tunnels everybody loves. My question was prior to this was, are they going to bring the elevator? And not only did they use the EVP Vader again, they now have a contraption that like a giant screen goes up to first, and then like they come up with in the EVP Vader. I love this theme. Everything I get, like, it is Succession, but it's also very much a Roman Reigns, like, I think intentional.
Yeah, it winks
rip
at
off,
it.
but it makes me feel the same things.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
Did you see what they were doing while they were doing their biceps, their double biceps?
Yeah. What was it? I didn't make a note of it, but
they were waving to shoot more pyro.
Oh, that's right. The pyro. The pyro. I forgot the pyro. So they fired off like the entire stock of pyro that they had on.
It's like
on
you're
hand,
playing Fight Forever and you're just mashing the button.
Just flames. And like while they're doing their pose, was it both of them or just Matthew?
Matthew.
Matthew's like more pyro, more pyro.
Waving,
like
waving
and you see him mouthing more pyro, and then they shoot up like fireworks too, and like another bunch of fire. It was absolutely insane, like over the top, intentionally. And Taz is like, oh, it's a lot of pyro. Yeah. But yeah, served the purpose very well. Again, instead of money being fired off with the cannons, the ones that used to fire streamers back when they were baby faces, they fired off the business cards again to foreshadow what was about to come.
And then Schiavone says, "Great entrance after the ass kicking you took," and they cut him off.
It was great.
Nicholas Jackson says Sting cheated. Nicholas Jackson said they ended Sting's career forever and that they're entered into the tag team title tournament.
Yeah. I do want to touch on they cheated because Sting's sons, who are both 6'8", 305 pounds, cheated, kicked our ass.
Yeah, it was
but
funny.
The only important thing that came out of the show is we retired Sting.
Yeah.
Which is delusional, but it's great.
No, it's a good line. That's actually a good delusional heel comment.
Yeah. That's what they're going for.
And then they had their 2/3 announcements.
Yeah,
it was 3 announcements.
Huge announcements. Yeah, we talked a little bit about this already, but yeah, they announced that because Kenny Omega's not showing up for his dates, and they don't have no idea why, they're firing him from the Elite effective immediately. Mm-hmm. And because Hangman Page attacked both officials, he's getting suspended without pay from the Elite, but not from AEW.
Right before.
Did music drop now? So yeah, Eddie Kingston's music hit. Something that was alluded to a couple episodes ago. Kingston comes down to confront the Bucks. Eddie Kingston confronts his enemies. And he was great here. He did the thing where he's got a big wadded up ball of cash in his hand, which again alluded to what was about to happen. Kingston said, "Hey, I know you're gonna want to find me if I, talk out of turn or whatever. And he's like, here, I want to get ahead of it. And he throws his wad of money off Matthew's chest. And makes reference to like them talking shit about his attire or whatever. Just being Eddie Kingston and all angry and gruff. And the Bucks EVP trigger Eddie. First, a little back and forth, and then he gets nutted because that's what they do all the time now.
They're about to hit the EVP.
Oh yeah. They're about to.
And then the announcement number 3 drops.
Do I have I was looking for a coin. I wanted to make the noise. The coin drops. Everybody goes ape shit. Place absolutely erupts. The sound was a little weird on the original TV broadcast. I'm like, did he get like a half a pop or something? And then when they re-uploaded it on YouTube, it was giant. So I think it was just a weird sound thing I was experiencing. Kazuchika Okada, that's the coin drop we're referencing, comes out. I should have recognized it right from when he came out, because he's wearing a suit. He's like, comes down, acts like he gets Eddie out of there. Everybody thinks he's a babyface because he's Okada, and he seems to be saving Eddie. And then he grabs Eddie Kingston by like his waistband, puts him in the Rainmaker.
It is the slowest developing Rainmaker.
The Rainmaker's tough for that thing. I would have rather he just hit him with a clothesline.
Right.
Like that would have you don't need to do the finisher.
Eddie had to play real stupid.
Yeah, you got to stand there. I mean, I got the one thing I would.
It looked bad.
Like it did look bad.
Yeah.
But like for Eddie, at least you could be like, oh well, he doesn't know what's going on. He's shocked by this. He thinks this guy's his friend. So like it would take him a second to register, but it looked terrible.
It looked bad,
but it was still awesome.
Once he hit it looked good.
Like it didn't kill the segment or anything. No. It was it looked great, and like them standing together looked great. The Bucks announce, then Nicholas Jackson grabs the mic, says, "Oh yeah, we forgot we had a third huge announcement. The newest member of the Elite, Kazuchika Okada. Best way to possibly introduce a dude that I was not that excited about them signing, because I had the blinders on for like the potential for him even being a heel, and I'm glad because it's that much more impactful, and it's the perfect way to bring him in. The Bucks can be his mouthpiece, because he didn't speak English, and he could be their muscle now. It's great. And the visual is great, because Okada's whole thing is the Rainmaker making money rain, which is why they went to the business cards, at the pay-per-view and carried that through. That's why they wore the robes at the pay-per-view. They were wearing Okada robes. I know nobody noticed, myself included, because they put that there for us to notice after it happened.
Right.
Yeah, everything about it is exactly like the perfect way to bring Okada into.
I'm most excited for his first feud, which is with Eddie Kingston.
Yeah. So, well, the reason that's happening, I think, is because then you get to give Okada 3 belts.
Yeah.
Which I don't like the 3 belts thing generally.
No.
But when it's going to be
hold up.
Kazuchika Okada carrying 3, it's going to look awesome.
Well, especially with his pose, he holds his arms
exactly.
Out.
Yeah,
he can load those bad boys up.
It's for a visual for him, and Eddie Kingston's Continental crown is not very long for this world.
No,
but
no.
Super excited to.
It was cool. They presented him really well, made him a big bad right away. I like their group pose now, where Okada holds his arms out, and the Bucks are hunkering a little lower than usual, and they're doing their double biceps underneath his
make
arms.
him look, it looks cool. 6'4" frame even huger. Did you see that? I think I put it on our text thread, the picture that somebody put together of all the trios that the Bucks have had.
No.
It's like a murderer's row of awesome, Kenny Omega, Kevin Owens.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Everybody,
yeah.
like the Kevin Owens ones, I want that to happen again
at
some point before I die.
Next,
Edward is in trouble.
Yeah. They recapped Ospreay and Takeshita from Evolution, and they tee up Ospreay and Fletcher for tonight before going to Chris Statlander and Riho,
which we mentioned earlier. It was just a kick-ass, big little match.
It's a good match.
Riho's like bumping all over the place, being a little tiny. I said before this match, I'm like, the only thing that would disappoint me is if Statlander lost. Well, she did.
Yeah.
But in a way that I'm like, so it's a story thing.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. Stokely tried to like throw a chain and interfere on Statlander's behalf. She was winning the match already, but she grabbed this chain like, pondering, am I going to use this or not? Decides not to. Didn't lead directly to, but kind of led to her getting caught in a pinning combination.
Yeah, I don't get how Riho reversed. So the finish was there was 2 German suplexes from Statlander under Riho, and then Riho just reversed the third one and rolled her up.
Yeah.
I don't get why Statlander was mad at Stokely. He didn't do anything wrong.
Well, no, he didn't, and I think that's the reason that they did it that way is because it's if Stokely like did cost her the match like directly like that, it would push her further away from him.
Right.
I think she's going to start cheating. Right?
Oh, she's turning heel.
She's going to get pulled to his side.
There's no doubt.
So the way that you do that is you tell it in a way that just all you say is, well, if you had cheated, you definitely would have won. We can't say if you never looked at the chain at all, what would have happened? But if you would have cheated, you would have won this match.
Right.
And then even like Taz said it because he's the heel commentator, but then Shivani actually agreed with him.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you know what? You're right. She would have.
Yeah.
So that's why you do the little bit of extra time in the ring after the chain gets thrown in, because there needs to be space there. Yeah, I like it. Like I don't necessarily have any feelings about Statlander going face or heel. I just want her to be in the title picture.
I just like that she's very present.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I keep seeing her on every show
in a ancillary, like good feud. Like it's not even a good feud, but like it's
a story.
It's there every week.
They're doing the Stokely thing is a story.
Yeah,
which most women to this point have not really gotten unless it's the stories you're going for a belt.
It's not just match. It's we're character development.
And then they tied in. We went to the backstage segment with Willow and Stokely.
Yep.
Was it right after?
No, they did
the Darby thing, right?
They did a backstage with. They recapped Tony and Deanna Purrazzo, and then did a backstage with Tony before they went backstage.
The recap was more enjoyable than the match was.
She did have some funny lines. She said they're going to present the first ever Tony Awards on Collision. Tony with an eye so we don't get sued, which was funny.
Oh, I did like how Tony Storm just absolutely loves Mariah May now that she's like dressed like Tony Storm. Yeah. Like loves her more than she ever loved her before.
Her new merch is just old Tony Storm merch.
The first Tony Storm.
It's pretty clever.
It's I like it. Yeah, I liked it.
Chin up, tits out, and watch for the shoe.
That's a great catchphrase.
Yeah. Next was backstage with Stokely and Willow.
Yeah. So Stokely immediately says that, oh no, I never wanted to mess things up for Kris Statlander. She's my favorite wrestler by far. Yeah. Because Willow standing right there. She's like, what the hell? And then they announced that Willow's getting Riho on Collision, I think. It was Collision, right?
Big business.
Oh, it was. So that's, Jesus, that card's going to be stacked. We're getting Willow versus Riho. Should be a different kind of interesting match with those two. And Willow just cuts like a straight Willow Nightingale babyface.
I don't want any interference on my match. Yeah.
And it'll probably lead to a split with Statlander and Willow. Stat turns heel,
probably.
I think. And then you get that feud, which I'm good with.
Yeah.
I like everybody involved.
Next was Darby.
Darby comes out wearing a shirt from Zion in The Matrix. I like that quite a bit. Talking about he's vacating the tag titles because Sting is irreplaceable. I'm like, okay, that's good.
Right.
I hate vacated titles for almost everything, but yeah, I agree. Sting's irreplaceable. So talks a little bit about going to climb Everest and that his match upcoming this week with Jay White might be the last one he ever wrestles because there's a legitimate, like, real life possibility of him dying.
Yeah.
There, it's like 35 people a year or something die on Everest. So that kind of bummed me out to think about, but it's still a pretty decent promo for a Darby prom.
I thought it, like, he looked devastated the entire time.
He did.
So I don't know.
He's been this whole since that shitty promo that he got Dynamite a few weeks ago, he's been really like acting his ass off.
Yeah, it's very good. And he's said, if next week is my last match ever, I'm going to go out fighting because there's no guarantee I'm going to come back alive. I think you just mentioned that. But, real sad. I don't know. Like, I hope he's acting because I was getting real I'm scared to death vibes.
I'm sure there's some real emotion tied in there. But, I mean, usually the best performance is like Sting with that promo about his dad, using his dad emotion. You take that real emotion, you put it into your
Hope
art.
So. Well, hopefully he's coming back. He leaves March 27th. Jay White comes out.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. No, go ahead.
I loved Jay White here. Loved. He's so disingenuous. He's such a slimy scumbag. I'm just happy that
Tried to get out of the match.
See Jay White doing a promo again.
Yeah.
This has been a few weeks. Yeah, he tells Darby like, you don't have to do this, like kind of thing. Just doing totally heel stuff. He like paying lip service to the fact that he's in a babyface kind of stable right now. Like he kept saying Atlanta. It was Atlanta, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Which is where they're at. But then he did it so many times that it became like very clear that he's doing it to fuck with everybody because Jay White does. But yeah, it was a good way to promote an awesome match for next week. Hopefully not Darby Allin's last.
No shit, right? They had some good back and forth where Jay White says Darby looks like a lost puppy without Sting.
Yeah.
Said, we don't have to have our match. Just why don't you come backstage, hang out with the group. We even got a name for you. And they call him Darby Scissorhands.
That was amusing.
Darby had some... See, like when Darby's... I don't know. Whatever this mood was, it's good. It's good for promos because he said... He's Jay White has main evented the Tokyo Dome twice, won world championships around the world, and since he's come to AEW, all he's done is played with cardboard cutouts.
Great bit of business there. Like I don't buy the hype.
Yeah, I don't believe the hype. If you're as good as you say you are, you'll come alone. And then he pushed him away with, I guess Darby has a baseball bat now. He's one of several members of this roster.
You think he's going to carry this thing bat with him forever?
I
you
hope
think he's replacing the skateboard? I mean, that's been so iconically tied to him.
I'm okay with him having the bat.
I'm okay either way with it. I was curious.
I mean, it is the second best bat in all of AEW
after the White.
After Floyd,
Young Bucks.
After Floyd.
No, thank you, sir.
Floyd
is the plant's name in WWE.
Oh, it did have a name.
The Moxley, the Dean Ambrose.
I forgot about that. I do not know.
It was fun. Jericho's a hoot.
Yeah. They did backstage with Sky Blue and Julia Hart.
Yeah, Julia Hart gets multiple back-to-back segments. Just a little clunky having her in two back-to-back.
It made me wonder where Sky Blue went between promo 1 and promo
2. Shout outs to this. His idea of she needs to change her name to Black Sky. That's just much better for this. I don't know if like Malachi doesn't want her in the House of Black or something, but yeah. I liked both promos though. I like Julia Hart cut a promo, and then
she's issuing a open house for anyone who needs to be reminded who the TBS champion is. So it's like an open challenge, I assume.
Pre-tape, so a little easier, but it worked well for.
Yeah, and then a House of Black promo for they're hyping on Collision. It's going to be the House of Black against Mark Briscoe, and
they didn't quite announce that yet. It was basically House of Black doing a "fuck you, Mark Briscoe."
Yeah,
it was just them saying they're gonna kill him.
Yeah,
and then Julia Hart sang "Ring of Fire," and it was cool.
Yeah,
which I also Man in Black, House of Black.
Yeah,
I'm thinking Jarrett's gonna have a black guitar at the match that is eventually going to happen, because then they cut to Mark Briscoe, super fiery promo, just Mark Briscoeing the hell out of everything he said. Wonderful. Loved it. Jay Lethal joins him on screen to say, I've been messing around too much. We just need to do this thing. Let's partner up. Briscoe says, that's fine, but I don't want you bringing that scoundrel Jarrett. And Jay Lethal then says, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but like, if we're going up against those dastardly pricks, we need our own prick too.
Right.
And
you don't have to trust him. You can trust me.
Yeah. I got it. So we're getting Team TNA and Mark Briscoe against the House of Black.
I think it's going to
be fun.
I just thought Malachi and Buddy were on their way out, and I was like, oh, damn it. They're in a thing now. I want them.
If it finishes with Mark Briscoe versus Malachi, even if that's his last match,
that'd be fun.
Cool.
Mark Briscoe's very good.
Great
He's
thing,
very fun to watch.
But I hope Brody King doesn't go, because I love that dude.
Although if that whole faction showed up at once, that'd be fucking dope.
Would be, that'd be the way to do it.
Yeah.
But Brody can't do the things that make him as awesome as he is.
Right.
On like the bigger, more family oriented show.
Yeah. The next match, we don't have to talk about the next
main event of the evening. Will Ospreay versus younger, taller Will Ospreay. Coyle Fletcher comes out sporting newly bleached, fly-looking hairdo. He looks a little bit more swole than last time I saw him. I guess he's been killing it on Ring of Honor. I don't watch that program, so I have no idea.
He's apparently the television champion.
Yeah.
Not a good night for Ring of Honor champions. All three of them lost.
Well, I would say it was a good night for Kyle Fletcher because that man is a star.
Oh, yeah. This was a star-making. Yeah. Like, we knew he was good, but this was...
So, Dave, you know what a good way to start your career with a company is?
Have the best...
2 6-star matches in 4 days. This was...
You're not wrong.
Again, I can't... I mean, I feel I almost can't say much about this match because I would just be repeating myself from the Takeshita thing. Both of these guys...
Yeah.
Were so good that I couldn't even wrap my head around how they were doing what they were doing.
Yeah.
Different crazy spots, like more head spiky poison Rana-y based offense both ways. But like same. What we said on the other podcast about the Takeshita Will Ospreay match. If you didn't listen to that one first, folks, go listen to that.
Yeah.
And just put Kyle Fletcher's name into the conversation instead of Takeshita, and that's exactly my review of this match. It's absolutely phenomenal.
All my notes are, I have a little like symbol I put when it's a good move. Every bullet point I have has that symbol on it.
Yeah.
Except the finish. Just because I have a different symbol for finish.
Nice.
The big scary spot in this match was...
Avalanche Poison Rana?
There was an Avalanche Poison Rana on Kyle Fletcher, and Kyle Fletcher landed right on his goddamn
head.
And I rewound it.
It was like a Kenny Omega
3-4
spike.
times.
We're like, how is that not a broken neck? But you're fine.
Yeah. And then shortly after that, he knew he wasn't going to win, so he just voluntarily took the hidden blade to the face, which was the finish of the match.
Went long like Ospreay matches do. And at the end, they're friends too, so like it made sense on that level. Yeah. Did the blade, not hidden, but blade after? Yeah,
is that what we're calling it? Just
that's
the
what
blade?
I'm calling it.
I'm good with that.
Fletcher gave him the just end this. I know it's over.
Yeah,
and so he hit him with it, and then Bryan Danielson's.
Daniel Bryan.
I don't know who that is.
We covered this.
Didn't that guy lose to Sheamus real fast or something one time?
Yes.
They're not fucking around with the dream matches for Will Ospreay. We got Takeshita in the first one. We're getting Danielson in the next one.
Yeah. Even Fletcher, too, you can...
And like Fletcher's a dream match that like most people didn't know they wanted.
I can't wait for... Oh, wait. You missed Wembley. We got Chris Jericho, too. That's...
Yeah. I mean, looking at my notes from this thing, they tell me. The show goes off the air with like the epic stare down between Danielson, and I'm so interested in what that's going to look like. Yeah, they're both absolutely incredible.
Yeah, in
totally different ways.
So that's
so very excited.
When I was complaining that Danielson needs to just win a goddamn championship, this is the second best thing he could do.
Yes.
And it just and it all boils down to just entertain me and give me the things I want, and this is the thing I want.
Absolutely.
And if you're not going to win titles, fine. Then just fantasy book.
And like so for the upcoming pay-per-view, which is still 2 months away.
Is this
one day after
Dynasty?
Dynasty if you're a Brit.
Dynasty.
Looks like already they have set up Swerve Joe 1-on-1. Ospreay Danielson, I assume that's the pay-per-view. They might be doing that earlier though, because it's like
probably on Rampage.
2 months away.
Knowing them.
Okada versus Edward. I think that might happen at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view just to get the belts on Okada. But if not, then it's another one they're already building towards.
Yep.
Willow Julia probably won't be Statlander yet, but we already got a story going for the Julia for Willow. Potentially Malachi and Mark Briscoe. And then the tag finals. So like that's enough already.
Who do you got?
Do
we have the Bucks winning this?
I don't think we mentioned the Bucks. And did we say that they put themselves in the tournament? They announced officially.
We did not. Yeah,
they're going to be in the tournament. I think the direction they're going is we're going to see the Outrunners like as the first team.
Yeah.
It's either going to be just kind of trash teams, and they'll say then like, well, you guys can't even say anything because we did it the right way.
Yeah.
Or they will. It'll be like the regular brackets. Won't look terrible on at the outset, but then they're just going to cheat their asses off, and nobody can do anything about it because they're the bosses.
Right.
So like, I'm not sure which one would be better. I kind of like the Outrunners, like set the whole brackets up that way, but either one works.
But we have them winning, right?
I think they're going to win. The tournament.
I hope so.
Yeah. If they had not announced entering it, I thought maybe we'd get a FTR BCC, like the FTR get their win back in the finals kind of thing.
Yeah,
which would be a cool story too. But the Bucks being in it, I think they have to win it and they have to do it in a shit heel way.
Yeah. Okay. It's fun. There's a lot of fun tag teams in it.
Yeah,
it's pretty stacked. Everybody's kind of doing something right now.
Love me a tournament.
We'll see.
I had this Dynamite, despite the shaky ass start, really gave me the feeling that I've missed so badly from AEW. I think you're absolutely right. I think Phil
did a number, man.
Not intentionally, and not even by being a dick.
No, it's just a difference of
his
philosophy.
Suggestions were not the right thing for AEW.
And at the time, he was the biggest star the company ever had.
And Tony Khan had stars in his eyes.
It still is the biggest star the company ever had. So, yeah.
I mean, that's not really arguable. I think it's going to change pretty fast. I think that now American eyes being on Will Ospreay, I really think that dude has a chance to
he's got the best shot of anybody.
Make the brand hit a high they've ever hit. Once people start seeing him, I mean, like we said, undeniable is not even enough of a word.
No.
It's it's a spectacle.
Right.
Every time he's in the ring.
100%.
Is the best possible person they could have because it's in ring. It's all in ring stuff. I mean, his other stuff's good too, but I think eventually he's going to be just an enormous star.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anybody else. I mean, AEW, it's mostly niche kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of people that I absolutely love, but I couldn't see because in ring stuff, you generally don't become a giant star. I think Ospreay's got that. I think he's going to be the first guy.
He's very special.
Yeah.
He's a very special guy.
Something I've never seen.
No one's ever seen this. No, absolutely not.
So if I mentioned a little bit earlier, guys, if you haven't already, go check out our other special bonus podcast for AEW Revolution. It's going to drop the same time as this one. As always, thank you for sticking with us, and thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.